Good morning, everybody. Sunstar. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much almost there. How's everybody doing on this warm on the East Coast? Warm in the central. Stormy, I think, down south, but yeah, it's a little stormy here too. We're see, I got a couple of ships this morning. I got one posted online. The other one was halfway through the getting it ready to post, editing. Oh, here comes Michael.
Hey, how you doing, Paul? You all right?
Yeah, Michael, I'm doing good. How are you?
It's very well, thank you. Just turning the sound off of my YouTube. There you go. I had two Pauls talking for a second there. Right, let's just get organized. How's your morning been, all right?
Me, I got up about 5 o'clock and went and did a shift just after sunrise, and then I just came back and did another shift.
Okay. Oh, nice. Great stuff. Good morning, Mark. How the devil are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Michael.
Good, good.
Good morning, Paul.
Well, I know. It's just been kind of sympathetic to the
generic.
hosts. Well, the host time, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a look.
Oh, Michael, what time is it where you are?
It is 2 o'clock, just gone.
2 o'clock
So,
in the afternoon, 5 hours.
I believe the 6 hours difference. Is that right?
It's
5.
9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock here.
5. Oh, okay.
5 hours.
What do you
Hi,
What do you think of my
Brian?
What do you think of my picture, Paul? My little cat.
I like it.
David made me that. I'm very happy with it. I think it's good.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it conveys the right amount of cool catness.
He did you well, Michael.
He did, yeah. I'm happy that he did that. It's AI generated as well. Maybe he'll do Mark. He'll do one for Mark, you know. Good morning, Waypoint. I watched last night. I watched Mudball Don. His video, his holiday video from 2023. He had a shorter one that, from what I remember, didn't have any horse riding in it or something. But this one it seems to be a little more detailed and everything else. And I sent him a message. I said, I love the video. It's very cool. Watched it with a smile on my face. And then he messaged back saying something like, "Oh, you're humoring me" or something. But
Oh yeah. Don's
you know,
always got something to add, you know.
he is, isn't he? The smart ass.
Yes, he is.
But yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, I understand what he means though. Some people just kind of write jolly comments as a kind of standard reply, you know. But I am nothing but genuine, I can assure you. In fact, it reminded me of a pony trekking thing that I did with my parents when I was a child. And I remember my dad was lopsided on the horse, just like that guy who Don had in his video. He was kind of leaning to one side and trying to control the horse that he was on. And obviously the horse had done this trek 1,000 times and he knew where to go and everything else, and was not taking any instruction at all from anyone, especially not some random guy it just happens to be sitting on him. You see what Mark's doing in his picture? He's bragging that he's got 35 pounds, the lucky bastard. That's what he's doing.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, he's flexing. He's going, look at me. Check me out.
Well, who is that? Is that the King of England?
Yeah, that's the
Prince Charlie. I don't have any of these notes at the moment. Let me have a look at my wallet. It's right in front of me.
why.
Those must be
Yeah.
collectors, aren't they?
No.
Oh, they've just been brought out.
Yeah. And the thing is, it might be a good idea to actually grab a couple and stash them, because who knows? Charlie
who
might.
knows how long they're going to be printing money.
There's that as well. Yeah.
And he's getting older, you know, so.
There's that. Yeah. And also, there's a chance that he might, I don't know what the word is, but he might give the kingship, as it were, to his son.
Abdicate it, yep.
He abdicates. Yeah. Yeah.
With him being ill, perhaps, but I don't
Oh,
know.
that's it. Has he got prostate cancer or something,
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jackson. Oh, that's Tim, is it? Hi, Tim. Morning or afternoon, whatever it
Mr.
is.
Tim.
But the daft thing about it is you've also got to remember that William's wife has also got cancer.
Kate, yeah, she has.
Yeah.
She's being treated at the moment, but she was at that Trooping of the Colour, was looking fantastic, smiling and all that sort of thing, which was good.
Mm.
Oh, sorry.
And they got their hands full with those two kids too, don't they?
Oh yeah, Harry and that other fucking weirdo. What an idiot you!
Lou
Christ.
or Louis.
Yeah.
You know,
Thing is,
it must be
when you-
hard. It must be hard growing up in the palace life as a kid,
Sure.
because you think you've got it all, you know.
I'm pretty sure
maybe that's difficult.
Brother, though, not his kid.
You think what?
I'm fairly certain that Harry is his brother, not his kid.
Yeah. I don't know what the young kids are.
But Harry's wife is pretty much what happens when your brain has been steeped in identity politics the whole, its entire life. And of course, it's like a pickling of identity politics and victim narrative culture type crap, whatever it is, And obviously, when people hear her talking, explaining, what a victim she is or something, it's sickening, because she is, the Duchess of fucking wherever. Ugh, it's just nasty, horrible. Did you see that Oprah Winfrey discussion she had?
Hello, Joe.
Meeting.
Well, that's
Terrible.
fake money right there.
Morning, Joe.
Joe says that's fake money because it's British.
Hi, Joe.
Looks
Yeah,
like
how dare
Monopoly
you,
money.
sir? How dare you, sir? You take that back right now.
There is a £50 note as well, but that's not been released yet.
Oh, it hasn't been released? Okay. I just reckon you don't have 50 quid, Mark. You just
I don't have
get
it.
the money.
I have all of about £1.30 in cash in my pocket.
Hey.
That's about.
I've got 40 quid in my account, mate. 40 quid.
I've got over £1,000 in my bank, but
I've got about 15 quid in my wallet.
He's got 40 squids in his wallet.
40 quid. Oh, not in my wallet. It's in my bank. And I keep it in this account that I use for electronic fund transfers,
I
because
got
it's
about 15 quid.
15 quid.
it's only the way
But-
you call $1 a book. We call £1 a
Because
quid.
I use this account for electronic fund transfers because if something happens or they try to take out too much money or something, then there's not much damage they can do to an account with nothing in it. See what I mean? So if I need to buy something online for 50 quid, I just put 50 quid over electronically into this account and then do it. So it's a form of damage limitation.
Got a
Good
point.
idea. Everyone should
That's
do
what I
it.
do in football season.
Yeah, there you go.
All the
what you
cash
do
I
in
get,
football
like
season?
for team pictures, go right into the safe.
Right.
Yeah, I got football tonight.
Oh, boy.
Guess what the temperature is going to be at 3 o'clock?
100,
Oh God, I can't imagine. It's hot out there at the
97.
moment.
97.
97.
88% humidity. 88% humidity. Feels like
Yeah.
108. That's what I got to deal with tonight.
88% humidity is
Make sure
nothing.
you drink lots of fluids.
Yeah, right.
You don't need to all of a sudden be clutching your chest and having a heart attack.
Yeah, I'll be sitting down. I'm not going to be doing much.
Thing is, for out of condition fat men, no offense to anyone, because I'm talking about myself. The heat is not good at all, when it's like
Well,
that.
it's not good
It
for
can
heart
wipe you
problems
out.
either.
Right.
It's pretty weird. I mean, it's 20 degrees centigrade, but it actually feels quite cool outside. We've got
I've been out
12 mile
this
an hour
morning.
wind, 12 mile an hour wind gusting to 26.
Yeah, it feels all right when I went out. I've only just got back in like half an hour ago, but it felt okay when I was out. Kind of pleasant, not too hot. But, yeah, just
See
right.
what the humidity is.
Oh, I'm gonna buy a plane. Hang on, let me show you. I want to show you guys the plane. I'll send the
Humidity
link.
59%, 56%.
Well, that's
So we got
tolerable.
56% humidity on a clear day with a little bit of wind and the sunshine.
Well, I bet Joe wishes he had 56% humidity down there.
Yeah.
Mm.
What'd
Yeah,
you
it's gonna
say
be
it was
bad.
going to be? 90% humidity?
88.
88% humidity.
Oh, yesterday it was 91%. But it didn't feel any different to today.
That's like breathing water.
So
Yeah.
I take it 100% is water cannot be evaporated into it. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
I couldn't tell you. I know we've been
100%.
100% humidity before.
100% humidity means it's pissing it down.
Yeah, it should be.
Does it? No, seriously, Mark. What does it mean? I don't understand the percentage metric for describing humidity. I really don't get it.
I am not absolutely certain about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the moisture content in the air. When it's 100%, you as soon as you step outside, you start sweating.
Right, but the thing is, you see, you're the sweat evaporating off you all the time. I've got a feeling that as soon as that sweat cannot evaporate into the air because it's saturated with water, then the sweat doesn't go anywhere, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, it does not dissipate.
Yeah, because there's a process called latent heat dispersal when
Hello,
breeze blows
Tim.
over water on your skin, and it cools it down. It just drags the heat out of you. Sorry, Mark, what did you say?
I said good morning to Tim.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Tim, yep.
Well, it's good evening to Tim in it, I suppose. Nearly midnight.
What's on the flip side of those notes, Mark? Can you show us?
No,
Oh,
they're not my notes. I just grabbed the picture off
oh, you
Facebook.
grabbed the thing. Okay, well, I'll have a look in a bit. We'll just wait until we get one.
Oh,
Yeah, let me show you this airplane I'm getting. I'm going to get a kit aircraft and build it.
I haven't got any cash at the moment, and to get cash, I'm going to have to find the letter that the bank sent me with the new PIN number for my new card because I forgot to open it and read it. So I can't actually use my card except for contactless.
Got ya. Even then, sometimes after like 5 or 6 times, doesn't it ask for a code anyway or something?
Yeah, but I don't actually use the card itself. I use the electronic card on my phone.
Ah, I see what you mean. And that does that never ask for a PIN
No,
from the reader? No. Okay. I thought it did sometimes ask for a confirmation every 10 times or something. I don't really know how it works.
no, because
Yeah.
effectively, I'm not sure whether it's Apple Pay or whether it's just an electronic bank card or whatever. It's one or the other.
I'm not going to play the video. I've no intention of playing the video, Paul. But can I show my screen?
Sure.
It's my knob. No, I'm just kidding. Right, let's have a look. God, I'm fucking useless at this. I go to share screen and the screen isn't there. It's not there. I mean,
Well,
it's
you
on
have-
my computer.
you
I'm looking at it.
You have to have it on your screen. Then you tell
Yeah.
it you want to share, you're sharing your screen. So if your screen just has a white, it doesn't share.
Oh, okay.
You have to
Yeah.
do it
Share
from
the white.
a separate window. think.
Yeah. Then
Yeah, no, okay.
you
I've
select,
done
you
that.
select that
I've
other
done a
window.
little separate window thing now. Can you see that? Can you guys see this?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
nice.
All right. So this is an Olympic 2 and it comes in kit form. I'm just going to jump to a few frames forward so you can see the whole thing.
Ah.
Um,
A glider or a
well, here
power.
you go. So it's, well, here's the thing. It
Like
was
a
originally
glider.
designed as a glider. It is a
Yeah.
glider. It's like a slope soaring thermal soaring glider. But
Mm.
a lot of these things can be retrofitted with electric motors because they're clean and they fit kind of anywhere. And usually they used to use pods that you strap on over the wing. But nowadays you can just trim the nose and stick a motor up front. A nice little brush.
So someone basically get it launched.
And
Yeah.
away you go.
You were breaking in and out
Yeah,
with all
yeah. I mean,
then.
it's like what was I?
You were breaking in and out with for a minute.
Yeah, no. So thank you. Yeah, so it gets it up there, and then you can. I'll just play like a couple of seconds of it. Here you go. Isn't
Yeah,
that cool?
just cut the motor out and what's it?
Yeah.
Use it as a glider.
Saw it.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's got a little camera on top of there that we're viewing from. Now it's not FPV. He's flying that line of sight. Let me just turn it off. Stop the share. What a great little glider that is. And it would take me only a week to build it probably and cover it in solar film.
Oh, was it a balsa and tissue?
Plywood. Not tissue, solar film. But it's balsa wood and this stuff called light ply, where I think what it is, rather than very thin veneers of pine, it uses thin veneers of pine, and it sandwiches a layer of balsa in the middle. So it's pine. Yeah, pine is the bread, and then the filling is the balsa, and
All right.
they're laminated with the grains going in opposite directions as well to give them some kind of
Rigidity.
yeah. So it's pretty strong, not quite as strong as the regular stuff, but it's still strong. And it's a combination of that and balsa.
Mm.
So it's super good.
When
they're not good. Sorry, go on.
Plain, they were all balsa wood with tissue paper stretched over and painted with dope.
Yeah, yeah. The dope would shrink it and make it nice and tight and
The drums.
waterproof. Mm. Yeah. But now solar film is just brilliant. It's really good. Yeah, my hotliner is solar filmed. It has quite a powerful motor in it, and then I have a larger ASW28 with, and it's definitely my favorite plane. And it has a fiberglass fuselage built up wing with a fiberglass skin and um, I guess a light ply skeleton inside the wing. It's super strong. Bit of carbon fiber on the joiner, and it's brilliant. And you quite literally just get it up there, and then the prop folds away, and you can glide for a long time. Sometimes, depending on the you know the lift, you don't have to do anything.
The props fold.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Laura. Hey, Laura.
Morning, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Sunstar, Waypoint. Tim.
But yeah, it seems like that would be a good thing to do, and I'm going to get it done. But I want it to be able to do something that the other two fixed wing gliders that I have can't do. So I want to get a combat wing as well, like a Zaggy.
Justin's gonna be mad in a minute. They're cutting the grass out there, and I know they're gonna wake him up.
Do you live that close to Justin?
No,
know
he's
what
No,
he's gonna
my
be-
Justin.
His
My
son-
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. Got you.
Yeah, he's gonna be pissed in a minute if he wakes up. They do it. They used to do it on Wednesdays. Now they do it arbitrarily whenever they feel like it. And they come out here at 8 in the morning. They used to come out at 10. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they've got no consideration for people who stay up till stupid hours of the morning and go to bed late and don't get up in the morning.
Well, to be fair,
Oh, he
there are
didn't-
shift
Bit like
workers.
Yeah,
bit like dustbin men that keep coming round at 7 o'clock in the morning to empty the bins.
he got off this morning at 6. From working 12 hours.
Yeah.
Did you have him pick you up some breakfast or what?
Nah,
Mhm.
I didn't even pick him up for breakfast. He came straight home. Well, the wind's not blowing today for the first time in 3 days. I mean, hardly anything blowing out there. We've been getting the east wind, and when we get it, and that's from that tropical storm, that's 875 miles from us. That's how far it is away. And the east wind was so bad on the Gulf Coast that it started pushing water into Lake Vaughan, which pushed water into Lake Pontchartrain, which flooded Mandeville Lakeshore and flooded all around Manchac.
Yeah,
I
the
went out
wind
there
does some
yesterday.
interesting things. It does
Yeah.
interesting things to water that people don't realize.
Well, yeah, I went out there yesterday, and when I got out there in the morning, there was just a few areas that had a little water on the street, but you could see
Yeah.
the breakwaters that they were covered. So it was about
Right.
4 to 5 feet higher than usual. And then last night, the high tide came in again, and the wind was still blowing. And now about a mile, almost, let's say it's a mile and a half long. It was almost almost 3/4 of a mile that they had water on Lakeshore Drive that they had to block off. So I was flying about above the water.
In the winter, if there's ever a sheet of ice built up on a lake like that, the wind can blow the ice inland, and it will build up at the shore like this giant kind of wall of ice that's being constantly fed by the wind. And all it takes is just a light breeze.
There's a few videos on
It's astonishing. Right, yeah. Explain how it happens. Yeah. It's just when those forces kind of add up.
It got so cold here about 5 years ago. We were down in the teens for a couple of days. That people that had water fountains out in there, like their businesses, that all the ice sculptures were made with all the water fountains. It looked pretty cool. They got one little pond down here that's got a fountain in the middle of it, and it was nothing but a big ice sculpture.
It's kind of pretty.
Keep forgetting that when you say teens, that's below zero.
It wasn't that low.
We always have temperatures in the teens here.
Yeah, it's easy where we're from because zero is
pretty different. Yeah. When it goes below zero, you know it's freezing.
You Yankees always make it difficult.
It's below 32.
Talking of which, when Don wrote humor in his message yesterday, he spelt it wrong. He didn't include the U in the. I didn't have the balls to correct him, but maybe I'll bring it up later on.
He probably just heard it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
I'm right here.
I told you.
Mark made me say it. Oh, sorry. God, what happened?
Listen.
What? What happened?
When we fought the war for independence, we fought for the right to get rid of those extra U's. Except in the word glamour.
Okay.
We kept the U in glamour, and that's the only one.
It makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. Anyway, so I enjoyed your video, genuinely.
Rid of the O in glamour.
No humoring. I found it very entertaining.
There was no humor in that video. There was a little bit, but it's vacation slideshows. It's like vacation slideshows. They are boring to anybody who is not on the trip.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's like albums where people are going through like babies' pictures and stuff, saying, "Oh, aren't they wonderful?" and everything. It's just a baby.
Yeah, if it's the memories that go with it, and I put it up so my wife could get access to it. I did.
Yeah.
I should have made it private because I know it's boring.
But I watched it and it reminded me of my father on a horse, lopsided. The horse doing precisely what it wanted to do because it's been on the journey 1,000 times.
Oh, you noticed he was lopsided too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
because I kept on telling him, like, because he's just a friend of the family. We kind of adopted this guy. He's an older guy.
His name's Mike, right? Is that right?
Mike, yeah.
Okay.
And I kept on telling him, you're off. You're set. You're kind of crooked.
His saddle, if his saddle's off, there's not really much you can do about it unless you want to sit on the saddle at an awkward angle too. So maybe that was the problem. The saddle was just on the squiff.
Maybe.
One stirrup was The other.
I'm making a cup of tea, so I'll leave to it for a second. ASK.
But yeah, I know that putting up vacation videos like that are boring as hell.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Like I
also,
told
was-
Jim Boshar, it was a lot of footage, but no story. So
Mm.
I've always wondered about the scale. I can't get the scale of that. You know where the presidents are carved into the mountain? What is that called?
Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore. Yeah, I can't figure out the scale. I don't know what the scale is. It could be
Huge.
huge, it could be tiny.
It's huge,
Is it?
Yeah.
but
Okay.
Crazy Horse is larger.
Right, yeah. No, I kind of heard the story about that, about the guy wanting to carve that and what it should have looked like and everything else. And you showed that in context because you showed pictures of a statue of the intended
Hmm.
finished article that the guy was aiming for.
Aren't the president's face is about 100 feet tall or something?
Well, let's have a relatable ratio. So if a guy were to be hanging off the side of it, would the guy be the same size as the nose? Would he be able to
It'd be stood inside the eyeball.
stood inside the
I
eyeball?
think he could fit up in the nose.
Right there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah.
Those
Oh,
are the guys
okay.
working on the eye. That's a bridge of the nose in the eye.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's much
could
bigger
live
than
inside
I
the nose.
imagined then.
So,
Holy shit! Yeah.
yep.
You don't have access to the
Right,
nose
thank you.
because of National Treasure. They got everything hidden up in it. I'll look over
Morning,
back
gentlemen.
there.
Hey,
Lance,
Lance.
Lance?
schools out for summer.
Yeah.
Did you guys play School's Out Forever for me this morning?
Yeah. Forever?
Well, summer
Yeah,
anyway.
it's finished today. Yeah. If you were in England, you would be nearly finished because it's 2:30 in the afternoon here.
Yeah.
Well, the
That's so
nice
lucky.
thing is I've got first period plan. Kids are supposed to go to their first period and stay there for all day, and it's only half a day, so I won't have any kids today. It's gonna be nice.
You
That's
going
cheating.
in? You should be stay at home when that happens.
He's marking tests, isn't he? Probably.
Joe, I flew the POS this morning, chased another couple boats.
Yep.
I think one guy gave me the finger. I'm gonna have to go look.
Did you see the good ship Venus? Did you fly through the rigging of the good ship Venus?
I did.
Excellent. It's a little bit risky, isn't it? But you know, not too bad.
That's why, Lance, that's why you need one of my ducks to put on top of your drone. So you can flip
Keep
back.
an eye out.
There you go. Yep.
I think the Pelican would be a better option.
Oh, I can't.
Do you have a Pelican flipping the bird, Joe? Or was he just looking out?
No, I didn't have the Pelican doing that. The Pelican was on it when it crashed.
Ah, he's a bad luck Pelican then.
But
What's
like I
wrong
said, I
with
flew yesterday at the lakefront, and for about, I'd say, half a mile or 3/4 of a mile, there was at least a foot of water on the road. They had the road all blocked off just because of the east wind blowing in the high tide over Mandeville Harbor. All the houses along the lakefront are usually like 10 to 14 foot above everything because they're so used to it, because this happens 6 times a year. And if it would have been a hurricane, it would have been 3 to 5 feet of water.
Well, That
Hey,
sucks.
Joe.
I've been out there in 3 feet.
Joe, what you should do is print an alligator in a pose so that you can stick that on it. You can have an alligator Avata surfing.
Like this? Like this alligator
Which alligator?
in my hand.
Yeah, but is it posing well enough to be a surfer?
No. He's just sitting on
well.
top.
Mm.
He uses that to tease the alligators out in the swamp.
Mm.
Paul, did you fly the ships this morning?
Yeah, I flew 2 of them.
And if you did that, you could put a short video on to the Hawaii 5-0 theme tune.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Which
Just take
one
a
was the
video
better
of
ship?
doing easy acro. Yeah, I got a few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doing like the Ninja Turtles used the van surf, and like what's it did on Back to the Future.
Michael J.
Yeah,
Fox.
Surfing on
the
top
one I
of it.
want to print is Snoopy flying the Red Baron. I've had I could print that one, but it's just too hard to paint. Got too many. I have to get a brush and really paint it if I was going to do it that way.
That's way too much work.
Yeah, that's why I tried to do it with the pen, and I kept hitting the pen wouldn't fit in all the little crevices. So, because you got to have red, black, silver.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just about 3 colors. But if
Think-
I had the paints with the brush, I'd probably go ahead and do it.
You're
Let 'em know.
retired, Joe. You got time.
No,
I
I
mean,
don't.
The Red
I don't know how I
Baron,
had time to work.
Over-
What I do now.
I think the plane was a Fokker Wolf triplane.
Yeah, my next 2 days are about total 12 hours of work. So when we get off today, I'm going to lay down. I'm going to lay down for a couple hours. Because like I said, I'm gonna be out there from about 2:30 to at least 7 tonight. I'm not staying till 9. And I may even get out of there earlier. I'm just gonna shoot a few pictures of each team. And then that's it. I'll call my day. And then tomorrow I'll be there the whole day.
So have you managed to troubleshoot the problem of showing the photos to them, as in prospective buyers, without giving them the actual photo? You know, for instance, watermarks and low resolution.
Yeah, I was able to make a bigger watermark on the on the
okay.
website. Now it covers
Right.
the whole picture.
And there's no way they can AI that watermark out, no?
I hope not. They probably can now. It's probably a way to do it. I'll put it this way: if I see somebody with a picture they didn't buy, and it was AI, it looked like it was done like that. If AI did it, I'll probably find it. I probably won't show as many anymore.
Yeah, and that's the shame of it. You see, that's what I mean. That's yeah. No, maybe the thing is, if there's no, as clever as AI is, if there's no information there, that it's not going to glean any information. You can only guess. So you've probably cracked it. They'll be okay with a dirty great watermark on it. No, morning, Jonathan. Well, yeah.
Hey, Jonathan.
Jonathan, what's up, fam?
Oh, Jonathan shared a video with me this morning. We've been going back and forth a little bit on it, of a guy getting arrested for eating at a train station, which was ridiculous.
You see it?
because there was a rule about no eating on the platform. So he's sitting there, he's eating, and the cop comes up and says, "That's against the law. Give me your ID,"
Hey,
which was stupid. And I'm just, hey, he just say, "Hey, there's no eating up here. Go downstairs where they're selling the food." That's the end of the conversation. But the guy's
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? I'm just eating." And so he's like, "Okay, fine. You're getting arrested." And he cuffed the guy, and it's like escalated
Yeah.
into stupidity. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, there's the law,
They have
then-
to de-escalate. It's their part of their job. to
and then there's the
de-escalate.
spirit of the law. And the cop was an idiot.
Mm.
But
did the
Then
guy
again-
resist? Or he just
he refused. He kept on saying, "Why am I being arrested?" It's not like crazy resisting. It was like typical for eating, that kind of thing.
Jonathan never says hi to me. Look, he's left me out of his hellos.
You see, now,
now.
I
But
was,
that led into a discussion that Jonathan's like, well, the rule is dumb in the first place. It's like, okay, so that raises a question. Should we follow dumb laws,
When
even
a
if we think they're dumb?
sugar level
Well-
goes that low that he feels like he's going to go into a diabetic coma, and yet he still can't eat anything to bring his sugar level back up.
Well, that's different.
That complicates
Like carrying a
things.
piece of candy is different than having a
Yeah.
big Subway sandwich
Besides, here's the thing.
Three-course meal out
and a
there.
drink.
There's guidance and there's preferences and there's requests from signs and that sort of thing. But
Growl at me.
having a sign saying no eating is really, to translate that, it means please don't eat because we don't like people eating on the platform. That's it. It doesn't come into the law. There's no law. So just because you put a sign up doesn't mean that it becomes the law at all.
Well,
So the policeman was in the wrong for that to start with. Sorry, what were you saying?
It depends on if it was written into law. It may have been written.
Indeed. It may have,
might
but
be
if it's
fine.
not, writing on a sign doesn't automatically mean that it's the law.
Right, that is true.
The law could state.
That's like putting up a no drone zone sign.
Yeah.
But
Right,
the law
yeah.
could state that whoever's in charge, like if it's a park or whatever, that the park rules are enforced.
Hmm.
Only if they.
And if you don't follow the rules, they can ask you to leave.
That's right.
There you
But
go.
you don't get arrested for it. And
Right.
the guy wasn't arrested for eating. He was arrested for failure to
Hi,
ID
Jonathan.
and resisting arrest.
Jody.
Resisting
Because
arrest.
they always escalate to that, and that is
Yep,
stupid as hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you hassle a police officer at all, or even, I know people have gotten arrested just for poking the guy in the chest like this.
That
That's
hey,
gonna get you arrested.
that can get you arrested because that is unwanted contact.
Mhm.
Well, you remember, it wasn't that long ago, they used to talk about your space around you, your space around you. Nobody should get into your space.
That brings up like day before yesterday, Justin comes home and he just didn't look right. And last night yesterday he told me about it. Almost at the end of the shift. It was in the middle of the shift, about midnight the night before last. There was a woman that they've gone out on her at her house a few times for attempted suicides and things like this. And she owns part of a bar in Covington. She was at a different bar and the bartender came out. Justin just happened to stop there. He saw a friend of his. So he stopped there, he's talking to him. And the other bartender, Andy, comes out and he said, Justin, come get her out of here. She's going to sleep and she's falling asleep on this woman. He says, who are you talking about? So they went and got the woman. It's the same woman, right? The woman is 5 foot tall, weighs 310 pounds. Okay. Now she comes out and she starts mouthing off to Justin. And Justin's telling her, you need to leave. She's going, well, I own that bar. No, it's not your bar. That's not the one you own. The bartender is the one that told you need to leave. He's the manager. And she shoved Justin in the chest. Justin said, okay, touch me again, you're going to jail. And she shoved Justin in the chest. The daughter reached over and started to fight with Justin. The other cop walked behind her, grabbed her by the back while Justin threw her. They said she wound up getting thrown about 10 feet across the parking lot. The girl. They went to fighting with this woman. And when it was all said and done, Justin said it took him 10 minutes to catch his breath, fighting with this 300-pound woman. He said they wound up arresting her. She got like 5 charges. And in the process of it, when they threw her against the car, it was just a random car there. She hit the car, dented the car, broke a mirror on the car. Like that. He said the guy came out of the bar, looked at it, and he goes, looked over at the woman and goes, I ain't even asking. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
And just left it like they didn't even care.
Often drunk
And
women,
put her in the
or drunk
unit, she
people,
wound up getting the unit. She was kicking it.
they'll talk themselves into arrest, won't they? You know.
Oh,
Whilst
she
the
talked
police
herself
officer's
into
saying-
getting arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he said this woman, there was 2 of them started the fight. There was actually 5 officers there when they finally settled it. But they said she wouldn't get in the unit. They had to almost carry her and put her in the unit and everything else.
I was going to say, she sounds like she won't fit in the unit.
Well,
Yeah, I was
she barely
trying to-
did.
I was trying to fill my mind's eye with a 5'5" woman with, you know, 300 pounds. Oh my word! It didn't paint. A nice
Well, you
picture.
know, they've got all those things on YouTube where you can see this person being belligerent to police officers or just being ignorant or whatever, and they got the body cams on there. It's like, I can't remember the phraseology, but it's like they think they're special, you know,
Auditors.
because who their daddy is or who they know or.
Yeah. The
It's
auditors.
sometimes it's an ego thing, isn't it? Yeah, so, some auditors are a pain in the ass, some are good, some are bad. It's the same thing, really, you know. You know, hashtag not all auditors, I guess.
Though I must admit that some of the things that the police actually say to auditors are absolutely totally stupid.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Goes to show how ignorant the police can be at times.
Well, that's a problem. Is that police have become enforcers of the law instead of peacekeepers.
Right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes to enforce the law, they breach the peace themselves. Instead of
Yeah,
saying,
but they
okay, what
are.
is the most peaceful resolution to this situation?
And often
let's
it's
go
their
that
own
way.
interpretation
I
of the
don't
law
mean
as well.
that.
That's annoying.
I mean, yeah, some of the
Mhm.
times they just don't know the actual law.
Yeah, they just don't know, and they interpret the laws incorrectly, and they
Yeah,
apply
and-
them.
And here you have qualified immunity, where
Right.
if the cop is operating under, if they make a mistake, they can't be sued for it
Right, which is
because they
terrible.
were operating in good faith in their line of duty.
Right. It just means above the law, essentially. That's what it means. They can do what they like without, they can behave however they want
Well,
without the
police
risk
departments
of.
can get sued. Police departments can get sued, but the actual officer cannot.
Not in the UK.
Right here we have
Well,
qualified
sure. No, we're
immunity.
talking about the states, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about the states.
Yeah.
So
That's
let's
why
just
I
keep
was
it
talking
simple.
about
Yeah.
qualified immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
It's an awful idea.
But there are certain situations where an officer can lose their qualified immunity.
I mean, the daftest one, which is obviously the one that we would see the most, is the ones where it involves the drone laws. And the police just somewhat come up and say, "No, you
Yeah.
can't fly." I said, "Yes, I can. I'm the one that's taken the exam to get the
Mm.
operator ID to be able to fly. I'm the
Right.
one that has to learn all the rules."
Yeah, but you're
You're
irritating
telling
that
me-
person over there, so can
you're
you
telling
please
me
just
that
land it
I'm
and
not-
leave?
Yeah.
Well, and the thing of it is I can understand too.
Right.
Everybody has a bad day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy.
You know, police
Well,
officers could have a bad day, and you don't know who he just dealt with before he got to this situation,
Yeah.
and who before that. And so somebody needs to check them and say, "Hey, just calm down and
Yeah.
and it'll be all right," you know.
I mean, one of
Yeah.
the things that gets me is that one of the
Freedom of expression are people are going to say things that you don't like, and that's it. People
Yeah.
always say things you don't like, and that's the price that everyone pays for free expression. Sorry,
Yeah,
Mark, go on.
but one of the rules in the CAA regulations states that you must not, and it is against the law, to interfere with a pilot while he's in the
Exactly.
air. So
Yeah.
what they
So-
should do is say, could you please land it so we can talk? Not try and
Yeah.
carry on an argument while the drone is still in the air.
Yeah.
Well, since you are the pilot, that would be your job to say,
Well, yeah.
can,
I
let me
agree.
land this safely, and then I'd be glad to talk to you. But let me land this safely so that we can
Yeah.
continue.
Yep.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's the pilot's responsibility, and that's a good thing. There's nothing bad about that arrangement at all. That's how it should be.
I mean, I don't agree with what the auditors are doing, but
Mm-mm.
I do
Well-
feel that if the police are going to actually make any plausibility to policing the laws, they should learn them first.
Right, and the feeling I get from auditors, where it's, oh God, you know, that kind of cringy moment. I think maybe they're the eggs that have been broken to make the omelet of fixing what's going on. You know.
Well, that's how they see themselves.
Mm.
They
Right,
see
yeah.
themselves as they have to get out there and
Represent
Be
the
an
freedoms
ass.
that we.
and push
Right.
against
Be
those
an ass.
limits because well they think, okay, here's where the limits of our
Yeah,
legal
and to know where
rights
they are,
are.
you have to.
and they're going to keep
Yeah.
pushing. Everyone else is going to keep pushing, so they come back and they push right up against that edge to maintain it.
Right.
Because
I think there's a job there for them. I get it. And
Mhm.
whereas when I first saw that sort of thing, I was I didn't like it. I thought it's fucking stupid. But now I do get it, and I think, well, it's fair enough. I see far more that's right about that sort of thing than I feel that I have the right to criticize what they're doing. I think that it's okay.
I
The
can't.
police should learn their job, and if this serves to exemplify, if this serves to give an example of why the police are not doing their job properly, then that's a fair price to pay. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, I feel that as far as it goes with the police and making it so that they actually do learn. I mean, I have seen one auditor
Yeah.
that actually got pulled by a member of the drone police, so he did know the rules.
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
and it was quite good. But
Yeah,
the fact that they will go to like the scrapyard and fly over the scrapyard to try and get the scrapyard over to come out and argue the toss, that's the wrong.
yeah. Well, whether it's wrong or right, I don't know. But the thing is, I think there are ways of doing things. Okay, and sometimes a little conscience in the back of my head is thinking, well, who am I to question how they do it? They're doing it essentially. But and I know that there's some clickbaitiness, you know, and this schizophrenic argument I'm having in my head goes a bit like, you know, well, you know, they have to do it because that's how things are done. And of course, if it's a little bit clickbaity, it's going to increase the, you know, the footfall on the video or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel that it's justified to some degree.
In
To a greater
some
degree.
places, that's just a brilliant way of getting yourself ending up in a car crusher.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, I can't stand that Drain. Oh, hey, Drain, how you doing? You all right, Drain? How you going on?
Hey, Dre.
Good morning.
There we
Talk
We're
about
gonna hear
law, here
the
he
law
comes.
and the-
Good
Morning,
morning.
Dre.
Right, Dre?
I tell you guys, I'm always listening.
Yeah, that's
The
it.
spirit of the law and the law.
There you go. And I would say in most cases, Mark was talking about the drone rules and everything else. Many times law enforcement officers don't come to address the drone rules, they come and address privacy rules.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of times they're not concerned with your airspace authorization or whatever the case may be. They're there because someone has complained of you violating the privacy of their space, their expectation of privacy, or trespassing situations.
Yeah.
Now, if
Yeah,
an
but-
officer comes up and says you're trespassing in airspace, then he's way off base. But if he
In
says,
the UK, the police have been issued with the ability to enforce the drone regulations on behalf of the CAA.
same here in
And they
America,
actually issue fixed penalty notices, which is, I think you call it a ticket.
Yeah, well, I don't know about issuing tickets, but our officers here have been tasked with the same authority of the FAA to investigate, and then they would turn the case over to the FAA to handle it from that point. But they're tasked with the same thing. Anytime a call comes in, just like my Karen experience, call comes in, the local authorities have to respond and investigate. And they feel there's been some type of FAA violation, then they will pass on that report to the FAA.
The last time somebody broke into my garage and nicked my generator, I phoned the police up and they said, "Oh, we won't be coming out because it's not what's it, but here's your crime number."
Yeah.
So our police
like
are
that.
of the opinion that if it's, even though it's a what's it, an offence or something against you, if they don't consider it worthwhile coming out, they won't.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of places are getting like that because of manpower. You know, if your local department doesn't have civilian assets as far as citizens, I think ours is called Citizen Patrol or whatever the case is.
Yeah,
minor traffic accidents, they come out and take the report.
Yep.
Burglary reports, they come out and take the report because a sworn officer is need to be out there to handle more immediate crimes or higher level crimes instead of handle smaller crimes that basically not a
You're most likely never going to find the person who took your generator anyway.
Right.
Oh no.
Well, crime, like I say, crime in progress is what the difference is here. If it's a crime in progress, regular officers will respond. If it's like a burglary type thing, if the crime has already occurred, they'll send out a non-sworn individual to take the report, or you may actually take the report over the phone and give you a case number, like in your case, Mark. That is more common today in a lot of departments than anything else, because it's just not, you just can't afford to have the size departments that you need for officers on the street. Just like my department here, they're excited to have 250 officers for a city of 250,000 people. That's 40 something square miles. Okay. Now, by the FBI report, as far as what we need here in my city would be 500 officers, sworn officers, to manage this city properly. So that's what I'm saying, that they have to make decisions on how they're going to handle it. So, like I say, anything that's minor or crime has already been committed, they'll send out a citizen volunteer or whatever the case may be, non-sworn individual will come out and take the report. I had to get on the police department's case about even when city employees have incidents, they have to respond. Doesn't have to be a sworn officer, but somebody has to respond to take the report because of liability issues with the city. Most cities are self-insured. So for our own protection, a report has to be made because anybody after the fact can go get a ambulance chasing lawyer like Don. I'm sorry, Don, I didn't mean to put your name out there. But and tell their side, say, hey, my neck's hurting, back's hurting, that city employee or officer, whatever, hit me. You know, just like I had a guy in my office yesterday talking about some lady on a bike, you know, she might have been unhoused is the proper term nowadays, not homeless, but unhoused, was bobbing and weaving in the lane of the roadway. And as he was coming, he changed lanes to avoid her. And as he's coming up past her, she turns right into the side of the vehicle, city vehicle. Okay. He goes down, turns around to find out she's okay, whatever. She hops up, jumps back on the bike, takes off. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, at the time, he was not aware that he still needed to call the police to get a report. Because who knows, this lady might run to somebody who knows somebody, says, hey, file a claim against the city. They'll and most likely most cities will settle instead of going to court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she'll say, hey, let's sue the city for $50,000. That's more than what I got in my pocket now. And the city will just pay it out and be about my business. So that's why you have to get those reports for your own legal protection. But yeah, what you're describing is not uncommon. I know here in America it's very common. That you
we do have
the phone. If it's a theft situation, not in progress, and like I said, you might get a non-sworn individual.
Yeah, we do have civilian patrols. I don't know what the hell they call them now, but they are in full uniform.
Right. They'll be in ours will be like a different, they like the regular police, whereas the dark, almost black, blue, uniform like I used to wear, and then the non-sworn will wear like a lighter blue shirt, dark trousers, something like that.
And they pretty much look exactly the same.
Yeah.
As a police uniform, but the jacket that they wear has some other wording on it.
Yeah. It might actually describe them as
something patrol.
Yeah, community officer or citizen patrol,
something like that.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Citizens arrest.
Yeah. But that's just trying to use all the resources you can. Cause like I said, when you're talking about a sworn officer here, I know here in California, Southern California particularly, come out of the academy, officers make now upward near $80,000 to $90,000 a year. Hey, Terry. So you're talking about the use of an individual that is high dollar value. That's not including his benefit package. So overall, have a sworn officer respond to your call for your generator getting nicked off. You're talking about the city putting out over $100,000, probably $120,000, $30,000 to have that guy spend an hour of his time talking to you about your generator. And that's how they look at it and stuff. To where they pay a citizen patrol person maybe $30,000 a year he might be a volunteer, so it don't cost the city nothing to have him go out there and spend an hour of time taking the report.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not even interested in coming and trying to get fingerprints off a dirty garage door that they've forced open.
Yeah,
that they may have those fingerprints on record and know exactly who's done it.
Yeah, and that is the sad part. They don't bring out but those are actually separate individuals a lot of time. Non-sworn individuals who are the what's the term I'm looking for?
SOCO, scenes of crime officers.
Yeah, crime investigators, stuff like that. People come out, take the photographs, and pull the figures. I remember, when I was at Long Beach PD, we had a crime tech team that came out and took the fingerprints, photographs. I went to Fontana PD. You, the officer yourself, if you were responding to calls like that, you broke out your own tape, pulled them fingerprints off anything that had prints, and took your photographs yourself, and you booked it all in the evidence. So
yeah, it's all like
that's
the
over 30
CSI
years
over
ago.
there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
they call it
the streets.
They call it SOCO over here, scenes of crime officers.
Yeah. So it's just about the economics of it all. That's what all it comes down to. The economics.
Always about the money.
Yep, it's always about the money.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that the people get the perception, and sometimes, many times, it's the reality of not feeling safe in their own community. Because they know, like I said, I lived in my house over 30 years, and the only time we see a police unit come through our area is when somebody is called. We don't get the normal patrols that come through or anything at all.
And
that was a big thing when I was an officer in Long Beach, that whenever shift I worked, I made sure I drove through my entire beat during my shift.
Well, the daft thing about it is Droylsden police station is around about 50 yards from my house.
Mm-hmm.
They've closed it and sold it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens.
Being turned into 4 flats now.
Yeah, that happened. I remember when, like I said, my time, I saw Long Beach Police Department expand to where we opened up a North Division, East Division, and a West Division, along with the downtown. division, which would be South Division. And now I hear they're having another problem hiring officers again, because when I came was a big hiring spree in the early 90s. They were talking about now Long Beach, the city of Long Beach is 500,000 people. Has a major airport in the city, major port, everything else there, harbor patrol, all this kind of stuff. And there at one point, the number of officers was so low, they would have 2 officers patrolling a city of 500,000 people doing the overnight shift. 2 officers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unsafe. It's unsafe for the community. It's unsafe for the officers themselves, because you really don't have no backup.
And
For
the
anything.
the bad guys love that.
Oh yeah, and this is right after the crack epidemic was starting to wean a little bit, but it was still just, they called the Wild Wild West back in them days, and I was hired doing that big they did a big tax initiative that the politicians put through, and it was to hire officers to, particularly all that money went to hire more officers. And Long Beach is looking at, they needed a staff of somewhere close to 800 to almost 1,000 officers to be at the point they need to be at to manage that city. So, like I say, now you're going through 30 years have passed, 30 plus years have passed, and now you're seeing a decline in people wanting to get in law enforcement again because of all the things that have occurred across the country here in the States, and the lawsuits and everything else, showing a lot of misbehavior and a lot of shoving things under the carpet, all this kind of stuff that, that's when you talk about, officer immunity. People, well, unfortunately, have hid behind that for far too long.
Well, Dre, have you heard that Border Patrol agents are now in high demand because they can't get anybody that wants to take the job?
Yeah, well, I applied for Border Patrol when I first came out of the military. I was applying for Border Patrol, regular PD, all that kind of stuff. And the one thing that intrigued me about Border Patrol was the fact of the training at the time was down in Georgia. And then, I think it's almost like, about 5-6 months of training down there. And most likely you're going to be on the southern border. So they made sure they wanted you to be able to speak Spanish pretty fluently, all this kind of stuff. That was all part of your training. But the only thing I didn't like, coming out of the military, you did not get a chance to choose where you want to be posted at.
Where your
You
assignment
could be anywhere doing things in the south of Florida, Alabama, all the way back out to California. Now they would tell me, hey, I want to be hired. Let me be California, where I was going to be living at anyway. And I said, no, I didn't want to be uprooted and be in Texas or be in Louisiana, have to run to Joe and his family, and then have to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, because like I said, it's a federal agency. The Border Patrol is a federal agency, so they decide where you're going to be placed. It's not like,
And my family knew how to sneak in here.
Yeah, as I said, not that I applied in California, so I get to stay in California. No, you just apply in California and you can wind up anywhere. I could have wound up in New York, upstate New York, being the border up there, for all I know, and everything. I could be up there along Montana, or I could be in Washington with Lance. Up there.
By the way, guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you look at Draymond's tie, and you squint slightly, you'll notice that a 3D image of the DJI motion controller starts to appear. It's one of those magic eye ties.
Is that one of those things you got to turn your head sideways across your eyes?
Yeah, the magic eye. Sorry, go on. What are you saying, Jim?
Well, thank you, Michael, for that tidbit of
information. Yeah.
I've always got these genius takes.
So, Border Patrol's been, they've been trying to hire enough people since I would say, late 80s, early 90s. They've constantly been trying to hire people. Just can't keep enough agents. And then, like I said, you have incidents, which is it happens. I mean, it ain't the highest paying job. I think it average now is somewhere around 50,000-60,000 a year for a border patrol agent. You know, so depending upon where you get stationed at, you know, could be a tough place to live, especially like you're in San Diego. San Diego is not a cheap place to live. You know,
Well,
so you find out about these
and
guys taking money on the
jo-
side
and
and other stuff.
nowadays the job has got to be just tremendously complicated because you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, and that too, because like I say, you know, you get into the job and you like everybody, you know, on most work, it takes you at least. I remember when they talk about cops, it takes a cop at least 5 years to really know what he's doing. They say, and that's pretty sure. For the first 5 years you're out there, you should have had enough experience or exposure to majority of crimes that you're ever going to see in your lifetime. So that's why they talk about it takes you about 5 years to really know what's going on. And the same thing with a lot of jobs. It may take you a year or two to really, you know, as they say, master whatever it is that you're doing and stuff. And it's hard. And like I said, with the border patrol, stuff like that, when the rules keep changing every 3 to 4 years, especially with every administration that comes in, the rules can change. So it's like, okay, now that I finally got pretty good at what I'm doing, now I got to change what I've been doing. Because
relearn a new procedure, you know?
Yeah, that's just my whole thing.
Yeah.
Now you got to relearn something different, and that we're not doing it the way we used to do it. So that's very frustrating. We go through that here in the city when you have a revolving door of directors here in my city, where the average time for any director for any department has only been 18 months.
I wonder if officers receive like a little update briefing on any legislation that's pertinent that could have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like a little notelet that says this law has been updated, this law has changed, and you need to know about it. Joe, does Justin get any kind of newsletter updates like that from the police department telling them about updated laws?
They get updates when they walk in every shift. Anything
Right,
changes,
okay,
they get
yeah.
an update.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
but
cool.
what I'm talking about, Michael, is that policy changes. In other words, just like Joe's son is still out there. Now, I can probably talk about some things I did when I was out there 30 plus years ago that he still do today. But there's some things that have changed that, okay, we don't handle certain situations like that anymore. We handle it like this now.
Yeah.
That's just the
Were you a police
evolution
officer?
change and different
Were you-
law. One thing you realize as an officer, every January,
Yeah.
I know here in the States, that's when usually most laws come to effect, January or either July. Most
Yeah.
new laws that were enacted by the state legislation or even local municipalities come into effect.
I see. So even if they're approved and they still have to come into effect on a certain day.
That's usually about what happens. Either it's going to be a January, effective date, or it's going to be that mid fiscal year, which July 1st is the mid fiscal.
Right.
We got a lot of laws
see,
going into July 4th.
I know you're a veteran, Draymond. Did you used to be in the police force as well?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Got you. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought I knew you were in the Army.
Yeah. Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
wasn't
There
a
you go.
veteran, he
Navy
was a
then.
Marine.
No, we always said the Navy was the blueprint for Uber.
Uber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta tell it to Jason next time I see him.
Yeah, I said Navy was a blueprint for Uber. They got practiced by transporting Marines around the globe.
Say, hey, Jason, you could be an Uber driver. You fit right in.
I think doesn't Alexis do Uber or something like that? Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
does it
does.
in her Tesla.
Is
Yeah,
she doing that now?
I think
Been
so.
doing that for a while now, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't grasp the notion of putting strangers in my personal car.
Hmm.
That just
She
doesn't.
needs
fly.
to.
I
She needs
wouldn't
to
do
get
it.
her eyes sorted out because her eyes are failing, and it must be absolutely terrible for that to be happening.
She's got an
Imagine.
appointment to
Yeah,
have
she
her
got
camera.
surgery next month.
Yeah, because they put it off, didn't they? there was some kind of cancellation issue or something that set her back a month. But okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be okay.
If it's
She's
just
lovely.
cataracts, she'll be a lot better off once she's had it done.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard this morning, Dre. Night before last, Justin got into it with a 5 foot, 350 pound woman.
Yeah, I heard you telling the story. I said,
Yeah.
all I can say, I don't know why anybody that big, but been there, done that. And I've
Yeah.
even had the incidents. I don't know if you guys ever see the movie Training Day. No, it wasn't Training Day. It was I think it's called Last Call or something like that, with
I was looking at Donald.
Jake Gyllenhaal and
Last watch.
Last Watch. Yes, Last Watch. And you remember the scene where he takes his gun off and fights the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that. A lot of folks
Yeah.
talk trash, come up, oh, I'll kick your ass. You had that gun. So I say,
Way to sort it out.
oh, my partner, hold this. Hold
Well,
this.
the best part was body cam when Hesk showed up. That's the sergeant. He come
Yeah.
walking up from the back, and the woman's fighting with two of them,
Mhm.
and the daughter jumps in
Right.
to say, "You need to get your hands off of her," like this.
Mhm.
Justin grabbed her by the arm, and as he was throwing her, I think it was Tally throwing her at the same
Mhm.
time, and Hess grabbed her by the back, and they did this,
Oh,
and
wow.
she went flying.
Well, there is a good argument to be made. I've heard it made that officers should be put through mixed martial arts training
Yeah.
constantly and be capable physically, because if they are not capable physically, they resort to the next level, which would be the gun.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to put somebody in a controlled
Control hold.
situation without having
Yeah.
to put a gun on them or tase them or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is a great way of doing that because it teaches you how to control someone physically. It teaches you how to, use locks, like joint locks and all sorts of other things.
Right.
And it teaches you. The thing is, it's very, very easy to get someone to comply with you when they feel the pain or the threat of their arm being snapped in two, and suddenly you have control of
breaking
them.
my
There's-
arm. Yep, trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were lots of ways that can happen safely. And as Don says, it means that is a de-escalating thing to do because the level of violence has gotten to a point where it's sorted everything out, and from there you can put cuffs on them and take them away and everything else. No one has to get shot.
Well,
Nothing
Michael,
has to escalate.
I
Well,
tell
some
you this.
people have to get shot.
Well, I just want to get Michael's thing. Michael, even back in my day, we went through all that. Where
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
learned controlled holds, pain compliance, all this kind of
Nice.
stuff. The problem you run into when the person
Mm.
is either intoxicated,
Yeah,
under the influence,
Not
those
feeling nothing.
individuals are the
Yeah.
ones that don't feel pain.
Yeah, agree. And they don't even know that their arm's going to be broken if they do anything
Right.
more.
In my time, I have fought 4 people that are high on PCP.
Well,
And
fight
Sorry
back.
about this.
And basically, all I was doing was hanging on for the ride.
Mm.
You're
Once I
right.
got in a position, I'm literally we call it carotid restraint hold, which most commonly term is
Chokehold.
chokehold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that I'm literally trying to cut their oxygen off just to stop them.
Mm.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my first nights on the street with my field train officer, we're working South Division of Long Beach, and we're tooling around, and we hear these 2 officers come over the air and calling for help.
Yeah.
And we could tell, they're running or fighting, one or the other. My FTO
Right.
swings the unit around. We're going over to East Long Beach, on the other side of town. We get there. I would say about at least 10 units show up. We got this guy, this Samoan guy, about 6'2", solidly built, about 235 in the front yard of some house.
Mm.
At that point, he wouldn't listen to commands or anything else. Guys went up there hitting him with nightsticks. Didn't phase him a bit. We literally had the dog pile this guy to get him under control
Yeah.
and stuff. And we took him to the hospital. When we finally talked to the officers and found out what happened, they start off as a domestic violence call. They went there. This guy just went berserk. He was chasing the officers down the street. Not them chasing him down the street. He was chasing the officers down the street because they were trying not to shoot him.
You see, this makes it so much more important that police are given the skills. Now, there's a guy, one of the Gracie guys, who does a lot to encourage the police to get involved with jiu-jitsu. The good thing about what you mentioned, Draymond, that you said carotid, submit, I don't know, whatever. But the rear naked choke is useful also to get someone in handcuffs, simply because you can get them to lose consciousness for maybe a few seconds whilst you cuff them.
Yeah, and I know they call it a choke. And
yeah, but it's nothing to do with windpipes.
It has nothing to do with
it.
cutting off air.
It's blood.
It has
It's
to
a
do with
blood
cutting
choke,
off blood. Yeah.
Cut on the
Right.
blood.
And that's why the proper term is carotid restraint, because you're applying
There
pressure
you go.
on the
The
side
carotid
of the neck,
artery.
not in the front.
Because if you
Right.
try and cut off their air, you're going to be fighting them for 3 minutes. You cut off the blood to the brain, you're going to be fighting them for 3 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Doesn't take
maybe
much.
a little bit more, but
It's
Right,
6.
7
I've heard it's 6, but I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, well,
6
it all
seconds it
depends.
takes.
It all depends on the individual. If an individual has
Yeah.
a thick neck, it's going to take longer to apply it. If it's somebody thinly built, thin neck, they'll be out within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Somebody else,
it's very different
If it's
per
10, it's
person,
like
yeah.
a second and a half.
yeah. But the thing is, there is to, I would say, gain compliance. You lay them down, put the cuffs on them, and then you have to observe them for medical response reasons and stuff.
Of
And
course,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm
You don't want to
saying
kill
when
them.
I talked to Don, I was talking about this immunity thing. This is where a lot of officers get themselves in trouble. It's
Right.
not the act that they did; it's the lack of action after the fact.
Yeah.
When you incapacitate somebody, is
You
your
have a responsibility
duty
to them then,
to
yeah.
render aid, and you have to medically check on them
Duty to act.
until they either get to a medical facility or whatever. You always hear these stories of guys being placed face down, and they basically choking on themselves from asphyxia, is what it is.
Yep.
Not enough air. And the first thing they ask the officers, well, when were you checking on him? Well, we cuffed him, blah, blah, got busy doing this and that. He was in the back seat or he was on the ground, and no one's checking on him.
Yeah.
And that's where the immunity part doesn't cover. Because now you have violated 9 times out of 10 your department policy, and like I say, now you yourself are acting in a negligent manner.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of the lawsuits come from. Just like the guys down there was in South Carolina, where the 5 guys beat that guy to death over a traffic stop, and that right there we call herd mentality or mob mentality. The first
They were
officer
angry
that
because they were
encountered this
chasing
guy-
him, probably.
The first officer who encountered this guy was upset because the guy broke loose and got away. Got away from him.
Yeah.
So he gets on the radio, calls these other guys for aid. They all swarm this guy, and they beat him to death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mob
was
mentality.
terrible.
And that happens to a lot of officers. That mob mentality, they get that tunnel vision, and next thing you know, the party's on.
Yep.
Like I always tell people, I said, once you push the e-ticket, I'm the only one that gets to turn off the ride.
well,
Not you.
we tend to think that we are civilized, but we are basically
Monkeys in
primates.
shoes.
We are animals.
Hey,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
We
Wait a
have a
minute.
little
I'll-
we have a little veneer of civilization on
Yeah.
top
Joe's going
of
to tell us.
everything else.
Joe's
What-
going to tell us that he's not a
what-
monkey in shoes.
Wait a minute. When I worked EMS, I was
I
civilized.
want to walk like Joe,
the
talk
best
like
tool-
Joe. I want to be yee
But the
like
best
Joe.
tool I had
Uh-oh.
for somebody that was an idiot was a 5-cell mag light.
Mhm.
Mm.
I used to have.
Yeah.
I went through quite a few of those, Joe.
Yeah,
Um,
I hit a
I
guy
got
one
one
day.
upstairs that still has the D cells
I got
in
one.
it, but they haven't been
D
charged for
cells.
years, but it's still up there
Yeah,
where it's
mine
easy to
had a
grab.
big. I had the big long battery that had the charge on and stuff, and I went through about at least 4 or 5 of them things, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cost you
I
about
had a
100
guy
something
that
bucks to replace.
it stabbed
I got
his
one in my
boyfriend.
hand
The
right
police
now.
were waiting on him. He come running down the hallway, back down the hallway. They were chasing him. They all had their guns out. He's getting ready to run through the door. Still got the knife in his hand.
Mhm.
The police inside told me, get out the way. I said, stop. Like that, stop. Like this, because I couldn't get out the way. Like this, I said, I got him. As he came through the door, right across the teeth.
Mhm.
Had stopped him. He was on
Yeah.
the ground. So there you go. You got him now.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get out the way. I was pinned right there. And I didn't want them to start shooting. I said, stop. I said, I got this.
But Donald, to address your comment earlier about you guys talking about all the training, what I have seen over the last, I would say, 15 years of all the shootings and so forth, is the officers that we have out there today come from a generation of not having conflict growing up. Okay. Joe, myself, maybe Paul, I'll even throw you in there, Mark, whatever. We might have fights in elementary school. Okay. And so we've been in conflict growing up. A lot of these guys that are on the streets today have never been in a physical altercation growing up at all.
Yeah,
Most of them
and let's
not-
face it, they get their feelings hurt on the internet occasionally. You know,
Well,
so that's where.
That's where I'm going,
Yeah.
Mike. A lot of these guys have not had physical altercations. Conflict resolution does not exist in their mindset. So,
Yeah.
like Donald said, for them, the escalation of force, and they call it more today, the force continuum is like a circle.
Yeah, right.
Used to be a ladder back in the old days, that these guys are quickly to go up the ladder or go for the most lethal level of force,
Right.
because they have not themselves personally experienced conflict and conflict resolution to learn how to de-escalate a situation.
Right. And let's face it, a gun is a very indirect conflict resolution, right? Because they don't have to engage physically. There's no risk really.
I will go out on a limb here and be the guy who says it, that women in the police force should be passing those same physical requirements.
Yep.
You've seen the women that have gone up against. There is a video that went viral a while back of an officer trying to control a guy on the side of the road, and a guy jumped out of the car and went over and controlled the guy for her.
Right.
So she's in a physical altercation with a guy that she has no ability to control.
Thing is, there's lots of people saying that, you know, there's women
and I know
they completely miss.
There are physical differences. There are
They
some women
completely
that are
miss the
stronger
point
than
that-
some men. That's sure.
Yeah.
But there should be a certain requirement. and
Exactly. That's how it
everybody hits
works.
Well, I can tell you, Don, when I went to
100%.
academy,
I agree.
all the women that were in the class with me all had to hit the same standards. There was no abbreviated.
There you go. And as it
But-
should be, yeah.
They had
I mean,
to be
it's
able to
called,
climb
it's
that wall,
science calls
that's
it
the way it should
sexual
be.
dimorphism.
and everything else.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
And I say it in the times I had to get partnered up with a female in our class doing our self-defense training and patrol hold training.
Yeah.
I would not take it easy on them. I
Yeah.
would tell them, I said, I'm doing this for
Because the
your
enemy
good
won't.
and for your partner's good.
Yep.
Because I need you. If you can control me, you can control basically about 80% of the people you're going to encounter out the street.
Right. And that's the
That way
important
you
thing,
give
the
yourself
ability, yeah.
confidence. You give yourself confidence that you have the ability to do it, and your partner will have confidence that you're good to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Because let's go
by
back to the
doing that,
analogy, the
you are
monkey
washing
analogy.
out a lot of candidates, and that keeps your numbers down, and they like their numbers to be up. So
well, like I say,
they've gone
and they
lax in a
shouldn't.
lot of departments over the years.
Yeah, and like I say,
DEI is ridiculous. Let's face it. You know, having let's say amounts, or let's say figures to meet is fucking ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, no, it should be merit.
It should be meritocracy in things like that, because it's such an important thing. I mean, you shouldn't have to have, and it's very dangerous. And as Draymond said, you've got the man next to you fighting for you, you know, fighting for the person next to you, you know, watching out for him, covering fire, being able to look after him and yourself. You need to have those abilities. And the thing is, to go back to the ape metaphor, you see it's more pronounced in apes, but you see male silverback gorillas are fucking huge, and then you see the female gorilla, same species, who are about a fifth of the size, tiny little things, because they don't have to be big and strong
Hey.
and
Hey, can you please, I've got darker hair
defend
now, but
anything.
it used to be really bright red. Can we talk about orangutans instead?
Silver.
Because I'm feeling,
Well, that's
I feel more like an
they're your
orangutan.
silverback roots, you see, yeah.
Hey, Dre,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dre, let me show you one of my
But
partners.
you know, that's what they call
Up.
sexual dimorphism. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it exists everywhere
felt
in
very
nature
safe
except
with
in
her.
the human.
Let's have a look.
Hmm.
Very safe.
That's
with-
Janie,
Yep.
right? She was one of my
Yeah.
partners.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
6'4", 280, 300.
No,
310
she's an
pounds.
inch taller than I am.
Right? Now wait, 6'4", 310. That was one of my partners. That's her Harley she drove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
that
she's
Harley
cool,
hit the
man.
ground one day. She walked over with her left hand, picked it up, and cursed it out.
Yeah.
You see, some chicks are like
Big
that.
girl.
They are what's called the outliers in the bell curve, you know? And because those two bell distributions touch each other, it means that you're going to get some overlap. So you're going to have
Hold on
let's not
just
call
a
them
second.
freaks, but
I-
you know,
I have to take a break because
you got a book.
I gotta go to the book to the magic bookshelf.
Hey, Dre, have you
Back
heard
in
any,
Narnia.
I love the magic bookshelf.
Narnia.
Dre, have you
what-
heard anything more about the push to have a requirement in all police departments that there is no permanent partners? You got to rotate the staff all the time.
We did that when I used to work. You got rotated at least a minimum every 18 months. We rotated.
Oh no,
Division,
this is they're
partners?
talking about every shift you get a different partner.
No,
Never
every
that.
shift I would not agree with that because, like I said before, you have even as an individual officer,
There you go, Malcolm Gladwell.
it takes time to learn your area. And if
There
you're
it
out
is.
here
Quote
Well,
bouncing
the
Malcolm-
only
across-
thing,
Malcolm
the only
Gladwell
thing
earlier
is,
on.
Dre, if they were to do that, at some point in time, the rotation, you get back with that
Narnia.
same person again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do that, but the problem is you never learn your area. I say part of being a good officer or I say knowledgeable officer is knowing who's who in your area.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, if you live in a suburban area for the most part, it may not be as critical. You know, you got housing
signs.
developments, shopping
Roads.
plazas, all this kind of stuff, you know, suburban sprawl. Okay. But when you work in an urban environment, when you're in downtown area, stuff like that, you need to be able to know who the bad guys are, know who the shaky individuals are, and know who the druggies are, who the prostitutes are, all this kind of stuff. It takes time to identify who's who. Because sometimes sometimes the suspects are actually the victim on certain days. And it's just the opposite on other days.
Hey, Michael, there's my magic bookshelf.
You know, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
as I was saying,
I would
Paul,
say,
Nice.
that's why
Brilliant.
I say that, you know, it takes
can't
time
read
to
what
learn an
this
area, even
post-
if it's geographical wise. If it, like I say, if I got hired in your town, Port Huron, Michigan, I'm not from there. Okay.
Mhm.
Didn't grow up there, know nothing about the streets. So if every shift I'm changing up different parts of that city, it's going to take me twice as long to respond to
Yeah.
a call in action than anything else because I'm just learning how to get there.
And Dre, I would say, as important as you learning the people in the area and what's going on in the area is for the people to learn you.
Yes, that
Yep.
that
They
goes
need to be able to
both
look
ways.
over and see you, and they're less likely to jump you
Mhm.
if they know you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It goes
Unless,
both ways.
unless
That's why I
they're a
said-
hooker.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well,
even-
that's
what,
true.
what happens is a lot of times, Paul, the hookers get to know you, and they learn to, depending on how your interaction with they are,
Mhm.
they'll learn to respect you. Oh, they're
Mhm.
so and so. We need to go over here, not be here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
same thing with the gang members. They stay out. They stay out of sight. They because like I say, they'll know you. They'll know
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
days you work. They know what shift you're on. Everything. So they know on certain days. Oh, here. That's why I told you when I first came in here. I would drive through every part of my beat. That was my plan to make sure I drove down every street, in every alley during my beat in between calls. So I would know my beat like it's the back of my hand. So if something popped off at a certain location, I know I can take this shortcut through an alleyway, take this street over here. I can cut them
Yeah.
off. I know all the dead ends are at, all this kind of stuff. Know where the freeway access is at, everything.
It's your job as an officer to know the territory. It's like a pilot in behind where Paul is. The pilot knows the area, the constant changing topography of the silt and the mud and all that sort of thing. That he's able to do something so specific that no one else on the planet can do, because he knows the depths of each little area around that port, and it's such a specific job. All he has to know is the draft of the ship that he's piloting and the recent changes to the
Right. And like I said, we used to switch every 18 months. We would rotate. You get rotated out of different whole division. If we were in South Division, you might end up in West Division or East Division or North Division, something like that. And your partner may change, all this kind of stuff. The same thing. You want somebody you know. You don't want somebody rotating down that car you every night or every day. You want the same. You want to know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and vice versa. So when something goes down, you know how they're going to respond. Because I tell people all the time, I said, if I got something, especially if I had like even when I had a ride along, when people would come into the police department and say, I want to go on a ride along with an officer and see what it's like. And this is my whole spiel to them. I say, hey, this is the key to the shotgun right here. I'm gonna put the key right in the shotgun. I'm gonna unlock it. And I tell them this, I said, if I go down, you grab this shotgun and you shoot everything that moves.
Right.
Because I always tell them the simple this. The only person's gonna keep me from not going home is Jesus Christ. Because I'm going home to see my family.
Jonathan, you don't disagree with
saves and makes a different choice. I'm going home. Everybody else got other options. They're gonna get locked up or they're gonna get carried out.
Jonathan, you're not disagreeing with me. You're actually saying exactly what I said, is that you needed to get the people to know you as well.
Right. Yeah.
So that's exactly what I said.
So that was my model when I worked the streets. And I said, hey, we're going home. Only Jesus can intervene on anybody's part. Other than that, we're going home. This shit.
Dre, from watching TV, I think the most important thing to know about your neighborhood is where to find Huggy Bear, right?
Yeah, because he knows everything and he can get anything.
The Huggy Bears are very rare. You'll have this is true stuff. You'll have more success with, we used to call them beat wives and stuff. Women who get attached to you because you wear the uniform or because of the authority you have or whatever, but they are the best source of information. It might be a woman who runs a business, or it might be a woman who you went to her place and she looked at you as a knight in shining armor because you saved her from the boyfriend who was beating her to death one night. And they will call you, they will call the station, say, oh, Officer so-and-so working today or whatever, and they know what days you work and stuff and everything. And they're some of the best informants out there. They'll let you know everything.
I thought the most important part was to know where all the best coffee and hot dog stands were.
No, I that's one of the things I shied away. I tell people, they make that joke, oh, you guys over here hanging out at the donuts and coffee shop. I said, no, I don't eat donuts anymore. I eat croissants. I said, that's real. That's Dragnet days,
That's a sophisticated police officer. That is.
Yeah.
A donut? No.
That's the impression I want to give Michael. Was I'm a little bit high. I'm a little bit more highborn than that. That I don't hang out at the coffee shops no more.
Nothing wrong with that.
And they look at you kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit down the road than the last guy you talked to. Speaking of which, Don, are you watching the new season of House of Dragons?
I am not. I don't have Max. When I got downsized, I lost all my free cable. And that had all the free. I had Max for free and stuff like that. I just can't bring myself to pay for it. Yeah. I'm getting ready to purchase Netflix for a month pretty soon, just so I can watch Godzilla.
So Well, I hope you
Yeah, I do
enjoy
that
it.
occasionally.
But
Now, my
Yeah.
oldest son gave me the password to his Apple TV, so I was able to binge watch Masters of the Air, which is pretty good.
What's the selection like on Apple
so is House of
TV?
Dragon season 2 any good?
Yeah,
Is
The
it?
only
it's a
Because
guilty,
it left on such a cliffhanger
well,
on
I can
season
say
1.
it's a guilty pleasure because I can say I came on late to the Game of Thrones originally. I think I came on board like season 3, and that was only because HBO had one of those binge weekends, and
Mhm.
I binge watched 3-4 seasons in a weekend, dude,
God.
nonstop.
I really need to get a job doing movie reviews so I can write this shit off.
Yeah, well, I have a buddy of mine who did the same
Business
thing.
expense.
He's down in Arkansas, and he and I used to be gamers together back in the day. And now he's a movie critic besides his regular job. But he, like I say, he gets to see stuff out before anybody else reviews it. And
How's your Armor 3 going, Dre? How are you
what?
picking it up? You play Armor 3, don't you?
No, you know what? I never got into it. You know, I wanted
Yeah.
to play with the guys that were playing, and it was such a
It's difficult, isn't it, to
fiasco
learn?
trying to get on together. I just said the heck with it, and they moved on to something else. I guess they're all playing Fortnite or whatever now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I said no problem, no big deal.
That's a
I
shame.
still play.
I-
I still play Battlefield 3.
oh, okay. Why
and
not?
stuff.
It's okay.
I first got into first person shooter games when the game Black Hawk Down came out.
Oh, I didn't
I
even know there was
played
a game.
that. That got me. Before that, I was into the strategy games like Command and Conquer.
Oh, yeah, I loved all those.
Yeah, see, I still
Yeah.
play it. I still play Command and Conquer to this day. And stuff. And
Yeah, I might have a game of that.
that was my thing. That was the strategy games that intrigued me.
What was the games where you played a team of operators? Oh, God.
Oh, you got a lot of those.
Yeah, I
everything
know.
from,
That's
I'm trying to think.
in fact, they had like a Navy SEAL version of it
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
where you
that's what it
go
was.
in.
SEAL Team 6.
SEAL Team 6. Yeah, that's
SEAL
it, I
Team
think.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Brilliant
reason
game
I didn't
tactically.
get into that because SEAL Team 6 was primarily a console game. I never got into console games. You know,
Yeah.
I've always played mine on PCs.
Right.
Yeah, I never got into the console stuff. And I remember for a while there, a lot of the gamers games that were out was switching their platform from PC to consoles, and that's why I kind of just left it alone at that point.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes I see you on Drone and Sundry, and it's quite an interesting.
Yeah, Jonathan's got it right. Rainbow
stream.
Six. That's what it was called. Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six.
Yes.
That's Jonathan. Yeah, that's the one. Rainbow Six. That's
Yeah.
That's what I was on about actually. That's the one I was talking about, Dre.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
Rainbow
lots of
Six.
versions of it, and it was
Yeah.
superb. I love the strategy.
Right.
You get a lot from that. Anyway, yeah. So Drone and Sundry. I see you on there quite often, and
Yeah, I pop in there
engaging
and
with.
listen. Like anything else in life for me, I like to get my information from a variety of sources.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Why
don't
not?
rely upon, hanging out in one spot. Just like my news, I listen to talk radio, conservative radio most of the time.
Yeah.
I watch CNN.
You've got
when
to
I
get your
home.
news. Yeah.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And my thing is just to be able to be able to form my own opinion.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
always in the same spot, listen to the same thing, and the same thing when I'm hearing is what I already got in my head. It's like an echo chamber.
Yeah. You end up. It's very easy to fall into, even slightly fall into kind of echo chamber. You know.
And I said I try
never
not to
like
do
to
that.
have that feeling where I might be. Yeah. So when when too many people agree with me, I get a little bit, shifty. I don't like it. It's something wrong.
But
if
one
too
of
many people agree.
one of the rules I try to follow whenever I can, if I feel or realize I'm the smartest person in the room, it's time to change rooms.
Yeah, often I've wondered getting out of here for that same reason. But then I've
Oh,
you know,
trust
thought
me,
that I'll stay.
I sometimes feel like I need to go up and, take a bath or wipe my feet after hanging out in this room for a while.
Oh,
Michael.
exactly.
It's just,
How I feel.
Well, Don, you always
Well,
got treated like the old show Cheers. You go
Hmm.
go to that front that familiar
Yeah.
place where everybody knows your name.
everybody knows your name.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's exactly what it
Except
is.
my name's not asshole, so would you guys please call me Donald? It's starting to
Now,
wear
they
thin.
just
Asshole!
you go on Drone and Son, or you can argue with Bruce.
Well,
Yeah, arguing with Bruce is
this-
great fun.
I said I go for a lot of times the information, and then when I put out information on remote ID, I asked Gary to allow me to come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
And,
Gary, you should have a word with him, because the thing is, Gary doesn't know how interesting you are as a guest yet.
well, like I said,
he doesn't.
I
And
try
the
to
thing is,
present, I do. You see me in there. I try to present some information,
Right.
but I asked to let me come on to talk with Bruce about remote ID because Bruce
Yeah.
gets on his soapbox and stuff. And
yeah,
personally, Bruce has already got me personally. Now, my issue with Bruce is I don't feel anyone from another country should
Yeah.
be bashing another country or their
you see,
or their
yeah, I totally
organizations
disagree
or
with that.
administration
Yeah, yeah.
because they don't respond to you. I said I would not expect the British Parliament to respond to any
Hmm.
inquiries that I have about whatever process or procedure
Yeah, sure,
are
sure.
going on. I said, who
Yeah.
am I? I'm not even I'm not a British subject.
Yeah. But it's
So I'm thinking- I said-
a good subject. It's a good subject to discuss though with Bruce. It's going to be fascinating. But the thing is, the guys there and Gary as well. Gary is such a smart guy, isn't he?
Mhm.
I mean, he knows so much stuff, and he flies airplanes there in South Africa and whatnot. He's
Right.
very cool.
Mhm.
So they need you on there, dude, for sure.
Well, I like once again, I think they keep, like a lot of shows, not just them, but a lot of shows keep to a familiar panel that
Yeah, yeah.
they feel they have a unwritten code or a bond or whatever.
They'd have you
They're
on.
comfortable.
Yeah,
I would be a new guy they would have to adjust to, because I can say, based on some of their positions, I would be a Donald. I'll be devil advocate.
right. Yeah. You see,
Devil.
where I first did my gliding solo, I took a gliding solo exam. So I flew a glider on my own, right? And it was brilliant and it was really cool. And it was about a mile away from where Gary used to live, in a place in Trowbridge. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it's a cool place. He knew where it was. And I think Gary kind of holds me in some kind of high regard because, I flew a glider once,
Right.
But I'm really, as I say quite often, I'm a bit of an imposter. I don't really know much about drones. I mean, I've been flying fixed wing RC for a whole bunch of times, for
Right.
40 odd years.
Mhm.
So, I know a bit, but I'm certainly not very interesting in terms of drone stuff. But you are, you see. So, I'll have
I
to talk
fly
to Gary.
DJI exclusively, just the all controlled GPS drones.
Mhm.
I'm not an FPV guy, so you are really interesting because you can fly those fixed wings, and that takes more control. That takes
There
Right.
you
a
go.
lot more knowledge.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
any
and that's
idiot
what I'm
can
saying,
pop
you
up a
give a
DJI
variety
drone.
of
That's
people.
part of the problem.
if you have a variety of people
Yeah, yeah.
with knowledge, it makes it interesting take on the conversation. But I noticed, talking about that show particular, there are some things they go down the rabbit hole on that I'm totally lost. Like I think it was I'm thinking the one guy comes in there, they're talking about some kind of mail fraud thing a few weeks back.
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
like,
Ian was
what?
talking about it.
Yeah.
Ian, yeah.
And they keep going about this mail fraud thing. I'm thinking, what does that have to do with
Yeah. It was
RC planes, FPV, or
computer
drones?
Horizon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I'll be in there and I say, "Okay, time for me to leave because this is way above my head."
You're going all robotic.
But it was something that was going on in England. It was about the Horizon machines from the post office.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
it was bizarre.
Wasn't
But
it? Well, computers.
But I did learn about the
I'll put a good word in.
and I did learn about the Anzu Robotics first from them. They had Randall Warnock
Guest on, didn't they?
before
Yeah.
anybody else did.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
must admit that Anzu sounds very much like the same thing that that young lad did with EXO.
Well, Mark, I don't want to say that's exactly my wait and see, but as you just said, it has a little bit of that smell to it. But we will have to wait and see how it all washes out. My biggest thing is at least it gives us options to look at. I mean, it is an enterprise drone, so I know a lot of folks were balky because of the price, but then I tell people you have to realize this is an enterprise level piece of equipment, and the price they're asking for it is at an enterprise level price. I paid the same amount of money for my thermal drone, the first one I bought a couple years back, is what they're asking for theirs. So the price, I felt the price was fairly priced and everything. So I don't think there's anything that he's unlike EXO. I don't think Rando is playing a shell game with anybody. It's just that we want to. I think everybody wants to make sure this is going to be a legitimate, accepted drone to buy and fly in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody wants to buy a drone. Yeah, nobody wants to buy a drone that's going to be in the same boat as DJI, Autel, and everybody else within the next 3 to 5 years, unable to fly, unable to manage, unable to update or whatever, because now it falls under the entity list and all these other covered lists and whatever list that they can put on it.
Yeah, he did say that depending on the outcome of the bill,
right,
he could well be looking into doing the hobby side drones as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also looking at doing internationally, because I asked him what was he looking at that in case it does spread, and he did say that within the next, I think, 9 months or so, they are going to be international rather than just stateside. But I think he's working more as a coordinator than an actual manufacturer or anything. Everything is subcontracted out, even so far as selling. And he did say that he had partners in the drone business, and the way he was talking about it and the way, I can't help but think it might be Dobo and his mate.
Well, Randall Warnock has worked for every major.
He's worked for DJI and Autel and all sorts.
He's worked for everybody. He's worked for DJI. He's worked for Autel and all the else. So he knows how the game is played, and that's to his advantage. So he knows by making these deals for contracting out work and everything else. He's in other words, he's saving his biggest issue, which is raising capital. Here in America, that is where the biggest thing where a lot of companies fail, because they're not able to raise enough capital funding to really get your operations off the ground and continue to go. Because it's going to be a struggle. It's a struggle now, because now everybody's in a holding pattern right now because of the pending legislation. Even before this became to where it's at today, people are saying, "Oh, is this just a DJI knockoff, like the EXO thing, where this guy's just peddling the same drone under a different name?"
Well, pretty much it is. It is a DJI drone, and it's just built in Malaysia.
Right.
But the research and development is DJI. The construction, the contractor in Malaysia.
Right.
The distribution and sales are resellers and a warehouse. So all he's doing is sitting there moving stuff from one place to another, basically.
Yeah, but like I said, the biggest thing is he's being up front with it.
Oh yeah,
like the guy from EXO, that young kid was trying to say, "Oh no, this is a brand new drone. we're doing this. And everybody knew it was by Hudson.
Hudson,
was,
yeah.
was the manufacturer behind it, and he kept denying, like, no, we're separate from them. I said, no, let's not play us all stupid.
Yeah. I mean,
Randall came out and said,
Oh.
yes, I have the designs, I have this and that from DJI, I have their blessing from them. So,
Yep,
and what he did was, because he said that, it gave everybody at least an initial bit of confidence that this is a good drone, because of its legacy and its heritage.
The only
Tried and
the
tested
only thing
already.
that's really going to be American about it is the software.
Right.
Yeah, it's always been the case, though.
I can say, which is
probably the most
play on
important.
words type of thing. It goes in a play on words type of thing. That's why this legislation is going to be very key to its future. To say that, are they going to attack everything manufactured wise?
Yeah.
Or they're going to say, if you have American software, we'll let you slide.
On the subject of manufacturing, if the manufacturing conditions for the employees in Malaysia is up to scratch and they don't have to sling themselves out of windows or whatever, that'll be all right with me. In terms of my morality, it gets the green light. One thing I don't want is for employers to start erecting crash mats, at the bases of their tall buildings, as a solution to the working conditions, because that's no solution at all. I mean, I suppose in engineering terms, is what they call a kludge. A kludge is a solution to a problem, inelegant solution. Sorry, go on.
The manufacturer he's using is already a manufacturer of lots of high-end electronics and automotive stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, automotive stuff. He said. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
What else do they make then? What does, because automotive is a large.
Well, it'll be electronics, won't it? I mean,
electronic.
GPS and the media center players and things like that.
Media centers, consoles for cars and that. Yeah, I've seen a few of those actually that they make in China.
Electronic control units.
Because DJI were primarily a photographic type of. They did a lot of photographic gear, didn't they?
Well, no, that was because they took over Hasselblad.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. See, this is why you'd be interested too.
I think they own 49%, is it, or something, of Hasselblad?
I thought they bought them out 100%, but I don't know.
I don't think
I never dug into the weeds on that acquisition.
It was enough to own the majority.
Yeah.
So what I was saying before, Draymond, is if I've got your blessing, I will hint to, well, not just hint, I'll just ask him if we can have you on explaining on Drone and Sundry. Is that okay?
Oh, not a problem at all. I mean, I always tell people my biggest asset to the drone community or anything I've done is because of my background in law enforcement, in the legal. Like I say, I worked in legal work in the military besides other things I did.
Okay.
And understanding rules and regulations. That's my whole life. Is
cool.
Enforcement of rules and regulations, understanding it, and be able to give an opinion on it. So that's my biggest thing. I mean, a lot of people have a lot more experience in actual flying, drones, RC planes, and so forth. But learning the rules and regulations is where I feel that's where my, I just say, expertise would come into play.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's about. I can say just like anything else. With Bruce, I think he's a great guy and stuff. But like I said, him being in New Zealand and he's making derogatory comments about what the government here in America does, and then come to find out he's under the gun in his own backyard from his local people.
Yeah. I know. I think it's. I always think it's fair game.
I think Bruce is clever and quite knowledgeable, and I mean, he's electronics wise, he's very good, but he's just sort of anarchistic.
Nah, he's all right. He just doesn't like authoritarianism.
Yeah,
I mean, fair play. Who does? but Bruce makes some great points, and like I say,
He
I
does.
agree. He's a smart
He
guy,
does.
nice guy. But I've always thought it's okay to criticize other people's governments and vice versa. Americans criticize English government, whatever. I've always thought that was fair game, and for good reason too.
Well,
But also I will also add that I like the idea of being able to disagree with people, no problem at all, and for it to have zero impact on anything. Do you know what I
well,
mean?
and that's why I can say Bruce and I have talked in private messages, and
Yeah.
you know, and we don't have I don't have no ill will towards him. I don't think he has any ill will towards me, and we have
Cool.
come to some common ground thoughts. So,
Sure.
like I say, it's just the approach. Sometimes the approach
Yeah.
is more important than the actual concept
Okay.
and stuff. And that's what I say. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, when Ian comes on, was it Matt? Is it Matt Props or what was Ian's other?
Oh yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
Randy.
Mads Tech, Ian.
Yeah, Matt Tech. Yeah,
Matt
Ian
Tech,
Matt
Ian.
Tech.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's in.
he's got a ton of knowledge in the game
Oh yeah.
stuff, and
He's-
some other
He
people
used,
have.
used to be a television engineer.
Yeah,
okay.
television. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys do have a steep amount of knowledge of actually hands-on
Oh yeah.
engineering knowledge and everything
Mm.
else. So, like I say, you know, I could throw my 2 cents worth into the ring if they so desire me to come
Yeah.
on.
And they're a really cool bunch of guys anyway. I always
Yeah,
enjoy myself, you know.
like I say, I if I didn't think they were worth listening to, I wouldn't bother chiming in and when I do.
Mm.
So
I
So-
think Ian's a radio amateur as well.
Who
Ian
is?
Mads is a radio amateur.
Oh, okay. I think
There's
most of them are. I know Gary is, and I know that Bradford Ian is.
There are quite a few of us.
Yeah. Oh, you're into it as well, right? You are a
I've been
radio
radio-
ham?
I've been a radio am since 1982.
Oh dear. Hey. 1-4 for a copy.
Not quite.
Oh,
And so I really like the fact that they've allowed
TB.
Stephen,
yeah.
of Fly Guys to be part of their panel and stuff. I've been you know watching Stephen for quite a while, for at least the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I think he's a good asset to the
He's
panel.
quite interested on some shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes on in the Drone Seekers International sometimes as well.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
But be
they were
my
pretty
guest,
fascinating,
Michael. You know, and
Thank you, Joe.
if they are willing to allow a Yank to be on the show. I know they very rarely allow us Yanks to be on the show.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough though. But I think I make an
I
exception.
think
You know,
the
if I
last
put
one
a
they
good word
had
in.
on was a guy I met in San Diego. I can't think of his name now, but I saw him in San Diego at the expo down there.
Philip? No.
He's a part of some group. Last name Egan.
Oh, I know the guy you're on about actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
Egan.
Yeah, Patrick Egan.
Patrick Egan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him in San Diego in April and stuff and everything. So it's always
Yeah, I
nice
saw that
to
video.
see some folks, or actually meet them. So I met, you know, first time I got a chance to meet Big Moss in person in San Diego. I talked to the guys at Steel City Drones in San Diego. They were there, and talked to a couple other folks that were there. And that's why I tell people, you get a chance to go to these expos in your area, your country, wherever.
Oh yeah, I would. If I had the
Yeah.
option, I would.
Take the
Listen-
opportunity to go to one and talk to
Yeah.
people in person and you know, get a good feel for them.
Tell me, where are you at in terms of the legislation? You know, vis-a-vis what they call it, the banning of DJI products, because and it's between 3 and 5 years this is going to be enacted, and assuming that it will be, and it does look like it will be because they're just pursuing it over and over. So it seems that it's inevitable. It certainly has a feeling of inevitability to it, but. Obviously you've invested thousands of dollars into your drones. You now have as a business.
Yep.
Right, go for it. Sorry, I was extending the question too long, but where are you at with that now?
Let me go back a few years. I was one of the people who, advocated to everyone, go get their Part 107s, regardless if you are actual commercial operator or just a recreational pilot. Get the Part 107. And the reason why I was a big advocate for that is because of the fact, just like with regular manned aircraft, there's a certain standards that have to be met for you to have your manned aircraft certification or license, wherever you want to call it. You know, for regular pilots, I know here in the States, you have to get a physical, you know, all this kind of stuff. There might even be a certain, once you pass the initial knowledge test, everything else, you had to have so many flight hours and all these different things to maintain, to get and maintain your status. And coming, like I say, coming from my background of you know, law enforcement and
Legal.
you know, understand, you know, the regulations, so forth. I understand the fact that when you have a standard to meet, that promotes the I hate to use the word hobby. I hate that, but it promotes the industry as being more professional.
Right.
And that's why I try to stress people. I said we need to become more professional, so we are equally looked upon as anyone who owns a private aircraft.
Sure.
Because you don't see anybody laughing about the guy who has a little old 30-year-old Cessna. You know, he's a pilot, period. People say they respect him because they know there's a certain amount of skill set, there's a certain amount of knowledge he has, a certain amount of hours he's put in to get that license status and to maintain it.
I mean, there are many parallels when it comes to the legal side of this. There are many parallels. Don, you're muted, by the way.
You're muted, Don.
There are many parallels, like with weapons, for instance. You have plinkers and rifle shooters, and then you have soldiers. Right. So using weapons, but in a very different context. You see, and I see it the same way. Your use of a drone is very different to mine because my drone use kind of ties into my obsession with RC gear. It's just a hobby. It's used purely for recreation, and that's it. But with you, you're out there. You're doing something with a professional professionalism, and you need to have that kind of that proper. You know, you have to have your wits about you.
But the same thing, irregardless of what we personally use it for. Like I said, you have a guy who owns a Cessna, flies on weekends, may take the family somewhere, and you have the guy who may have a G2 who flights for people for money.
Or Dre, even the guy out that flies around the farmland over here on a paraglider with the little Volkswagen engine strapped to the back of him. Yeah. He's got a pilot's license.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It needs to be a standard to meet. So, and that's why I say by that the public itself has an impression upon if that guy is out there flying a quadcopter, flying an RC plane, or even an FPV. Just not that I have to have an in-depth knowledge of it. I know that he has a certain professional standing in the industry for him to operate that.
By the way, just a quick FYI, Donald, you know, with regards to the paramotor, I don't think that's true. So I'm going to look it up though, because
if it's a framed Volkswagen engine on the back, one, you do have to have a sport pilot's license. If it's one that you wear as a backpack, you do not.
I see what you mean.
Got you. Needed a license.
I know what you mean.
I thought about getting I for a while there I thought, you know, instead of a doom buggy, get me one of those backpack ones. But I think I'm too old for that.
The rest of my answer, Michael, is that
sorry, go on.
I was advocating this back in 2019 because I mean, like I said, I'm reading up on all the material that I'm getting my hands on. I'm watching the videos on YouTube, but I'm reading the material and I'm seeing what the language that is being brought forth through the FAA as far back as 2019, 2018, 2019. I got my 107 in 2019, and I see where this is going even back then. And I'm saying that if we do not ourselves as operators do not try to raise the level of our status, they're going to do it for us one way or another. And now we're looking at basically the elimination of recreational flying going on here in the United States. Because if you look at all this legislation, nothing says anything about recreational hobby flying at all. There's
Yeah,
no
the
exception.
thing is,
There's no exception in the language for those.
no,
individuals.
that's right. It's all
Yeah,
comes
Dre,
under
I've-
the same kind of umbrella.
I've been a
Yes.
Part
Sorry,
107 advocate for years too. I got mine in 2017, and I saw the change in my attitude just by going through the studying and learning about
Right.
things and becoming aware of the airspace.
Mhm.
That I became like a stickler for the rules. It was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
this is
Right.
how you
And
how
like
makes
you
I
sense.
said,
fly.
the only way you're going to keep legislation that is being brought forth now off our doorstep if everyone is meeting a certain standard. But that would be an argument.
Yeah.
You don't need to ban what I use, take my tools away from me
If I'm safe.
doing my
Yeah.
craft if I'm at a certain standard for what I do.
Yeah.
The problem we have now is we have certain segments. I mean, my older brother, he's been gone 10 years now, was in the RC planes back in early 80s when I first got married, 84, 85. And he was trying to get me into it. I said, dude, I just got married. I can't afford it. Because even back then, you were spending around $200 or $300 for RC plane kit back then.
Sure.
Buying a kit, you're buying the servo motors, you're buying a controller, the engine was separate back then, all this kind of stuff all added up. So you spend $200 or $300 trying to put a complete plane together. And then back then, everything was balsa wood back then. So if you didn't manage to get it off the ground right and land it right, you were spending another $200, $300 building another kit.
Yeah.
I said, no,
Yeah.
I can't see myself trying to tell my new wife back then that I'm going to spend this as a hobby and I may have to spend more money quite often if I crash or or I hit something or whatever else. So I've been around the industry for a while. So the AMA, I knew about that from way back. And like I tell a lot of people, I said, when I first got in this drone thing, I just knew for sure I was going to get a link on the computer to the AMA organization, say, hey, welcome to the AMA, blah, 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 sign up here, pay your dues. Boom.
Yeah.
That's how my mind was, because I had an introduction to that. And the AMA was what covered back then in the 80s and beyond, farther back, anything that flew from a hobbyist or whatever thing was all under the AMA.
Yeah.
So I was totally taken aback when there was no
Yeah.
group.
Differentiation. Yeah.
Well, no differentiation, but there was no group itself representing the drone hobby. Since I found out there was a difference between RC planes and drones, they're not under all the, even though we technically under the FAA, we all under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
But out in reality, we're not under the same. The AMA doesn't really want anything to do with us here in the States.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then here it is, the drone hobby has had no representation up until the last 6 months.
Essentially, they're telling you that you do your work with a toy,
Yes.
from a legal perspective.
And I say, and they're able to classify that because I have no representation to say, no, my people meet a certain standard.
Sure.
They have to meet a certain standard to be this, and that. I say, you would compare us to those who own private aircraft and so forth. So like I say, without having that type of lobbying for us, we have allowed this type of legislation to go through and make us all look like a bunch of rookies out there running to Best Buy, buying stuff off the shelf and just throwing it in the air.
Yep.
Like we just don't care. And have
Calling me a rookie?
Yep, it makes
Someone
Dre
from
look
Best
like
Buy?
me.
Yeah.
So and like I said, because and like I said, AMA has been quietly going behind the scenes, securing their people's spot, because you don't hear nobody from the RC community jumping up and down, because the AMA has quietly been lobbying their stuff to maintain their airfields. They're free.
The 3 or 5 year, or let's say the 3 to 5 years of grace, does that fill you with any kind of reassuredness or whatever, if that's the right word for it, Joe and Dre? What do you reckon? Does that reassure you at all?
I can tell you no. And the reason why I tell you no is just like the put in everybody term. I was talking to some other day about here in the States. I don't know if you guys do in England. Every so often, if you work for especially a municipality, they'll do comp surveys.
Yeah.
And what those are is either they'll look around at neighboring cities of equal size or whatever else is, and they'll compare each position within your organization to other organizations and see what the pay difference is and benefits is and
Right.
this kind of stuff. Now the whole trick is, a lot of times your bargaining group will come back and say, "Hey, we were able to secure you guys a 8% raise over the next 5 years." That sounds great at first, right? But
Yeah.
the problem is, what does the competing city or organizations do within that same amount of time? Do they stand still and wait for you to catch up, or do they continue to move forward? And
Yeah.
that's why I
You're
use
being
that
held
analogy
back.
because
Yeah.
with drones,
When I
same thing. If
Yeah.
the
I
drone
worked for
community is going to
Manchester,
stand still, I wouldn't have a problem. But we
Yeah.
all know drones. I would say drone is probably one of the, I would say, faster evolving areas, faster
Yep.
than home stereo gear.
Yep.
We all know you buy a piece of home stereo gear, and before you walk out the store, that's yesterday's news.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And it's even more true for electronic gear that's being
yeah,
generated,
it's so fast.
ad hoc.
And
Yeah.
drone same way. I mean, I made a short the other day. I used some old music for the 1970s when I used to go out and party in high school.
Oh, yeah.
As a soundtrack behind it, and I'm saying I'm out here mapping old school style. The song is
Right.
40 plus years old, but the drone
Right.
is only 6 years old.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, people look at my Phantom 4 RTK drone and say, "Man, why are you still using that old drone?" I said, "Dude, that has been the industry standard for the last 6 years."
Yeah.
People don't realize the Mavic 3E enterprise drone, it only came out last year. Before that, you had to buy a M210 or M300
Yeah.
to get something better than a Phantom 4 RTK for
That
Mavic.
Phantom 4 V2 is still sitting over at the office here in town. It just makes me sick that I can't go over and fly it.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and like I say, and the results from that drone, the V2 and the 4 RTK,
Mm-hmm.
there is no diminished. I mean, there's no real diminished finished product between that and the Mavic 3E or anything else. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I asked this guy the other day about. I just spent a bunch of money buying a GNSS system for survey work.
Okay.
The company I'm doing work for recommended, pretty much
Doggone.
basically demanded we go buy this MLID system.
Doggone.
And
Had
everything.
you.
So, and I asked the guy, because I've been banging my head. That's why I haven't been on hardly anybody's show. Like I've been trying to fully adapt myself how to operate this gear. And I asked the guy, I said, "What is the big difference between the DJI RTK base station and this MLID system?" And the guy truthfully said, there isn't really any far as the end product. It's just that the MLID system is more versatile, where it allows me to go out and set ground control points and things of that nature that is not easily to do with the DJI RTK base station.
Right.
So if I was just buying this system to fly a drone with it, it's kind of, it's in the same price range in a way, but as far as setup, it's a lot more time consuming to set this up than it is for the DJI base station, and I'm getting pretty much the same results as far as the outcome of the maps.
Yeah.
And like all of us, if you fly for, like Paul goes out and flies, Don uses it in his photography business, Joe goes out and flies and everything else. And I say the biggest thing we all have in common, the less amount of gear I got to drag around with me, the better I am at getting things done. I have less worry in my head about how many devices I got to load up, drag out. Remember to pack it all back in my truck without leaving something behind.
I got 3 kits.
Yeah.
I got my grab and go kit. I've got my regular meat and potatoes kit, and then I've got my full kit, which is going to be if I'm going to be doing interviews and stuff like that.
So now with this new system I have, I got to make sure, it has to work with my phone, first of all, which ticks me off, because with the base station, I set it on a known point, turn it on,
Mm.
and I ain't got to fool with it anymore.
Right.
I say the controller hooks up all of because it's all DJI, ecosystem. So it all it's like with
Yeah.
Apple, it all plays together nice.
Yeah.
This-
Ease of
so
use
now-
is so cool.
Right, the easy
I love
use
it.
is so cool and it's easy. So I'm
Hmm.
not worried about having my phone out there if I don't have it with me, whatever reason that may be, or other pieces of gear. So now I gotta use my phone to get this thing to work. Then I gotta set it up to get the corrections off of a in-trip service provider in the area
Right.
I may be in, and that's what I hate the most because my experience using in-trip, it is not consistent.
Right.
It could cut off at any time, and then I'm out here waiting for it to pick the corrections back up again. So that wastes
Right.
my time.
Yep.
So from a commercial standpoint, I look at this. If I become efficient and proficient at what I'm doing,
Mm.
I am basically generating more profit for myself because I'm spending less time out where I'm at. I'm in and
Yeah.
out.
And the
That's-
last thing you want to do is arrive on location where you're amongst people and people around you are being paid as well,
Mhm.
and you're spinning your wheels with tech.
Yes.
Computer says no, not enough satellites, all this bullshit, and it's sickening if there's stuff that you have to contend with. It's
So-
horrible.
So to
Just-
get back to
Mm.
get back to your main question again. So now if DJI is knocked out of the box 3-5 years later,
Yeah.
what is my alternative is going to be? I got to drag more gear out to the field, possibly a different brand drone.
Right.
If I am still allowed to fly my DJI drone, now I got to use different other gear for different drone because no other drone manufacturer, period, around the globe, makes a base station for their drones.
Right.
So just like once
And-
again, just like here in America, we have no manufacturer who makes consumer level drones for anybody.
And what would those options look like, though? What
What's
would you be
Skydio
shopping
place
for
that-
if DJI suddenly?
I would be forced to look at the Skydio X10, which is not a very good product overall. The Teal would be another one, or I may just have to step up, bite the bullet, and go with the Wingtra,
Okay.
which is a VTOL thing because it's only designed for mapping. Period. That's all it does.
What did you say? How did you spell that? Wingtra.
Yeah, Wingtra, Wingtra. It's a VTOL aircraft designed just for mapping.
Thought Skydio had a base station now.
Yeah, they do have a drone in a no, they don't have a base station. They have a drone in a box.
All right.
They don't have a separate tripod base station that you can drag
Right.
around with. DJI was the only company that had a base station. And that's what I'm saying. That DJI is still so far forward. That base station's been around for at least 5 years, maybe 6. You know,
I've seen people flying them out of base stations that are permanently
well, let
placed.
me clarify what I
Okay.
mean. When I say
Fine.
base stations, Mark,
completely.
I'm talking about a base.
Yeah, it's not a
station
box.
Is an RTK system.
It's
All right,
basically
okay.
like a satellite on the ground.
Yeah, it's a satellite. Is a satellite gathering and correction system on the ground, and we use it just like surveyors use it. Like,
All right,
like
it's more
you used to use a
more
survey.
like-
gear.
More like
Instead
the
of where your
modern-day
drone,
theodolites.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to get, what is it, Dre, within like 12 inches, you can get down to like a couple
Yes,
inches.
Oh,
it's
no,
supposed to be centimeter level
Yeah.
and stuff. And like I say, nobody else made one. DJI was the only
Mhm.
one that made one for their system, and basically because of the dominance use of their system in mapping and construction and agriculture and other industries that need that
Yeah.
type of work.
It's
See,
more
now,
like
Dre,
a
you
modern-day
use it
theodolite.
for the accuracy and the shooting of the different
Mapping.
architecture stuff and mapping.
Yeah, mapping. primarily.
What made me really crave one is the fact that the programmable flights and be able to
Yes.
repeat those flights forward and backwards, and
Right.
be right there. And you could track, say, for me, a video professional wanting to do, okay, I want to shoot a car coming down this road. I figure out that flight without ever having the car on the road, not having to do anything. And then it's timing the car. And the shot I really would have loved to have done if I ever got my hands on an RTK unit would be for a dealership and have, as you're flying along, the car is driving down the road and swap out. You'd have to really time the car, but swap out the car for a truck, for this, for that, and
Right.
choreograph like multiple bam,
And
bam,
like I
bam. So
said,
as it's-
programs like Litchi, DroneLink,
Yeah.
those are the programs you can still use to get that type of footage. You don't even need a RTK. Those are just waypoint.
you would, because you would need to be accurate if you're going to be swapping between shots. You want to have
Oh,
that
yes.
precision.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I looked at it. I was like, ooh, there's a creative use for this.
yeah. It will be more accurate as far as positioning of the drone
Yeah.
itself. It will
Yeah,
be more
because
accurate.
if not, you're shifting your entire scene. Then you're doing a lot of matching,
yeah,
trying to match up.
I
Yeah.
mean, even a drone's own GPS, it
Got
may
it.
be off by, this is what the difference is. Most times, the regular GPS on a drone may bob and weave, maybe say 4 to 6 feet. Okay.
Yeah, and if it's a wide shot, it doesn't matter.
Right. With RTK, it will only bob and weave maybe about 2 feet at most, maximum.
Yeah,
that's
and
what
if
we're
I was
talking
do,
about.
it, yeah, if I was doing it when the car was way back in the background, but if you're shooting like a featured thing, you're wanting to track the
Right.
car and have it filling a lot of the screen. That would
Yeah.
require that accuracy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I that's why I said that these bills are not you say forethought bills. I think they're more knee-jerk reaction bills. And I always tell people, I said, there's two things about government. You can be concerned about scoring political points, or you can be concerned about governing. When you're worried about scoring political points, you're not really doing anybody any favors in the long haul.
Yeah.
When you actually talk about governing, you will make really careful decisions on all the different outcomes that this legislation, this bill is going to affect every industry that is in play right now.
Yep.
Like I say, farmers use this kind of stuff, drones now and everything else. So I'm like, okay, now what are you going to do with the agricultural industry who use drones to monitor the crops? The people just think they're just thinking cameras. Everybody thinking cameras, but guess what? We have drones that do multi-spectrum work that actually tells you the difference on the ground, soil conditions and everything. We have LiDAR now, which we can fly over places that have thick canopy and still be able to see the ground itself for future development.
Yep, doing mapping on, yeah.
Right. So I say, these are things that we need in our industry to go forward as far as being.
I've seen some cool stuff on that LiDAR of them using that to actually find old historical sites that were lost because they've been covered with overgrowth
Bumps
for
in
so
the
many
ground.
years. And that gets you into the ground where you can actually see, okay, what's that shape?
So that's what I'm saying. There's been so many different advances over a short period of time to where drones have really pushed the envelope of what we're doing in certain industries. And now you're talking about cutting the head off of the I don't use the word snake, but cut the head off of the beast that's been leading the pack. And that's why I said this is going to be more harmful
Dumb.
than anything else.
Yeah, very harmful.
And my thing is, I get the point of wanting to bolster U.S. manufacturing, but there's so many different ways you could have done this.
Yeah,
without trying to
destroying everything.
You're destroying everything else. This is what it is. This is I say throw the bathwater out with the baby.
Yeah,
burn the forest down so you can see the trees, type of thing.
It's almost as if
see the trees.
Right. But isn't it almost as if they don't understand where the innovation comes from? What? I don't get it.
I don't
It's
think
so
they care.
obvious.
Well,
I don't think they care.
Like
If you're a
said before,
politician, you're wanting to get
Michael,
reelected, it's really the best way to get reelected is to create a problem or an enemy that you can solve and then
Mhm.
take it back to your people. Say, look what I did for
Oh.
you. I solved this
I hope you're
problem.
wrong.
And that's why I
I
say,
hope
Michael,
you're
it's
wrong.
about
I think
scoring
you're right,
political
though.
points and not actually governing.
Yeah.
You want to score points that you can go back and wave your flag over and say, hey, look what I did. You know,
Mhm.
all you people were concerned about losing your jobs and China is doing this and that. I'm saying instead of being more competitive, we
It
want to
just,
chop,
yeah.
chop it off at
It
the
shows
knees and
such,
say we really did something.
it just shows such a lack of sophistication and like
Yes.
oh, it's fucking
Well, that's
awful.
America.
Oh God. Fucking hell. Oh, it's terrifying, isn't it?
You went and looked at the Wingdra, Michael. I say it is an
Oh, yeah, it's
interesting
very good.
drone, but it is a as we always
Very
say, it's
specific.
a one shot deal.
Yeah, yeah.
It only does one.
I like the
thing.
color. Great for
orange.
finding that in the field.
He likes
Mm.
orange, but it's a one shot deal. Only does one thing.
Yeah.
So,
But many
Brings
drones
the
are
lines up.
anyway.
yeah, a lot of them are.
Many
yeah.
drones are tools, aren't they?
Yeah,
The
but
thing
like
is
I
with
say,
tools that they generally are specific jobs.
something like
Sorry.
a Wingdra will only be an asset to you if you're doing large areas.
Mm. Exactly.
And basically, you basically want to have beyond visual line of sight waivers and stuff, because like I say,
Yep.
it can cover a lot of territory very quickly.
Yep.
It flies very fast, and it uses the
Yep.
same type of cameras as a DSLR and stuff. So you can fly upwards to about 40, 50 miles per hour, and that
Yep.
thing will give you no blur at
Yep.
all. But like I say, if I'm only doing like a 7-acre lot, it's a waste of a asset. You know,
Mm.
by the time that thing gets up, it'll do. Even right now, I got a job that's 7 acres. I fly it with either the Phantom or the Mag 3E. I use the
Right.
Mag 3E. It does 2 passes and it's done.
Wow. Okay.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
it's up and down within about less than 10 minutes. Boom, boom. Smallest job I have. Rest of my
Is that
job.
because the camera is such good quality? It's because
Well,
it
the
can fly a
camera's
little
good quality,
higher.
but it's the field of view.
Right.
People, as I say, people realize the field of view on the Mavic 3, just like the whole Mavic 3 series, is a lot wider than it was on some of the older drones. That's why that makes a difference between that one. If I use the Phantom 4 RTK on the same job, it may have to do 3 passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
On a
even then,
small
it's
site.
fine. It's fine.
Now, my larger sites, like I said, I have sites where I do up to close to 400 plus acres.
So what are you doing? Are you actually looking at the light coming off of the crops to measure their chemical?
I don't do any agricultural
constituents or
work
something?
now. All the work I do
Oh.
now is mapping for housing developments. Is what I'm doing. Okay. Let me
Fuck it. I think my internet's all the way up. Sorry, go on.
hang on a second. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll show you a couple of my locations.
I think my internet might be on the blink. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah.
I tell you, keep talking. Now Don wants to be quiet.
I know. I don't know what to say.
I wasn't going to keep quiet, but now I'm gonna.
Okay.
We got
Sorry, I had nothing to
put on the
contribute.
spot
I was
there a
just
little
sending
bit.
off a bid for a
Okay.
project.
Here we go. I'll show you. This is one I got to do. One of the ones I have to do tomorrow. I'm gonna bring up here.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is where I'm gonna show you the site and the GCPs from there. Okay. Is it up?
It is now. Yep. That
Okay.
is photogrammetry, isn't it, or not?
Right. Basically,
Was
it's photogrammetry. Photogrammetry and mapping are intertwining words. Depends on the usage of the data. Photogrammetry is primarily can be used without control points or with control points. This one does have control points.
Oh, I
By
fucking love it.
the diamonds there are the
Yeah.
control points. As you see there, this is about this is I call a medium site. This is about close to I think it's 30 acres or so.
So just to clarify, this is an engineering survey for
Yes,
a
I'm
building
doing this for a
company.
company who is
Yeah.
going to be building houses here.
Got you.
It's a land survey.
I love
What do you
it.
call it?
I love that a drone can do that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Listen, Dre, I would bet my bollocks that the drone did not have to fly that high to take that picture. I bet
This
all
is
those pictures
400
were
feet.
taken.
This
Right,
is at
there you
400
go.
feet here. And like I say, the height that you fly at makes a difference too, how long you're going to be there. This is at 400
And what we're
feet.
looking at is a composite, isn't it? It's a composite picture.
Yeah, yeah. These
Right.
are all. This one here takes about, I think, just about 70 pictures for this site.
Got you.
And that reduces all of the distortion as well and just gives you an ortho view, right?
Right, right.
What's an ortho view?
Orthographic means there's no perspective in it. It's completely flat.
Got you. Okay.
All right.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna show you. I'm gonna show you another one here. So let me go back. Get out of the way there, thing here. We're done with that one.
Yeah,
I'll
whereas
I'll show you one of my large ones here. This is a large site. This is over a 400-acre site here that I have. That come up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can see
This
it.
is a, now I started on this site over a year ago. I'm still on it now. A year and a half later, I'm still flying this site. This is over 400 acres, all housing here. And you see how many GCPs are set.
You have to take it easy on the what do you call it? Because in England we don't really do letters, like that. What's a GCP? What's a
Ground control points.
Got you.
That's what all the little diamonds are. Those are the ground control points. And I
And
fly
they're
all
geographical
right here.
references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the difference of this project
like
makes it a
our
little bit
like
different.
our ordnance survey benchmarks.
Right. Survey
Yeah. No,
benchmark.
I've seen them.
Right. Now the difference with this site right here, the row houses along here are about 100 feet higher in elevation than the main area down here.
Okay.
So the additional thing I have to do with my drone, I have to fly in terrain awareness. So the drone flies, I fly this at 400 feet. The drone maintains 400 feet no matter where it's at.
Right.
Even though on my controller, it may say it's 560 up to 600 feet, it is no more than 400 feet to any one point where the drone is at.
Okay.
And that adds to the accuracy of the map itself.
Yeah.
So if it flew straight 400 feet from my takeoff point, some places it only be maybe 200 feet. Other places it was, I say, still be over 600 feet.
Okay. How does that
that
tie
throws
in
off
with the reference points then? Because the way that triangulates the position, because it's three-dimensional, it's going to interfere with the maths, isn't it? Because it's
no, this is only two-dimensional.
I know, but what I mean is because the distances, because it's a 3D, I know it's represented as 2D, but because it's 3D, it's going to throw out the trigonometry, isn't it?
Okay, now you're
No.
talking away from you're above my head, Michael. I didn't make it.
No. Listen, it's above my head, which is probably why I'm not explaining it very well.
It's keeping the same height, so that is basically making sure that everything on the ground looks the same.
There you go. Thank you, Mark.
So hang on. So when you're looking at it, essentially, it's as if that point is raised upwards, so it's all on the same level. Do you see what? So that must be what it is. Okay.
Yes,
so it's
that's
like
exactly
a pole
what it
in the
is.
air. Right, I got
Imagine every single bit of the ground goes straight up.
Yeah.
Every single point is going straight up to a flat plane.
All right.
Where it is registered.
Because
That's
let me
your
explain
orthographic view.
Right. Let me explain what's happened, Dre. Because the thing is, my brain is a bit bonkers, right? And it's a bit anal, and it does things that it goes to details that I can't explain properly. But I don't know what I'm on about. It's not like I have some deeper understanding or something. It's just that don't worry, it's all good. I get it. I do get it now.
Yeah.
You gotta love this stuff, though, isn't it? It's incredible.
Mm.
I think the real kind of let's say the good stuff is going to come when they combine photogrammetry with the LiDAR, so they can get real accuracy, real good accuracy, and then 3D photo.
Michael, they already do that already, because if you buy the either, I think it's the DJI L2 LiDAR unit, it comes with the second camera, which is the RGB camera, is the same camera that's on the Mavic 3E series.
Okay.
So why is
One
doing
thing that
LiDAR,
DJI
LiDAR with one camera it's doing their RGB with the other camera simultaneously.
Ah,
Just like when I do my thermal work, when I
Yeah.
use my thermal drones, it's taking RGB picture and the thermal picture simultaneously.
brilliant. Yeah, that's going to be good because each bit of data supports the next bit. You see, they tie in.
Mhm. Paul, what are you eating that you're not supposed to be eating? Because that definitely ain't no Meals on Wheels.
Boston cream.
Uh-huh.
He buys those now by the dozen.
Yeah, well, he ain't fooling nobody. I'm going on a fly ship. Go right down to the donut shop. Now, see, on that large site, Michael, that wing drug
Yeah.
would probably do that flight in half the amount of time that I used my drone on.
Okay.
So I used 3 batteries on that site. That last one I showed you, 3 batteries, and it's barely a third battery. It's like two.
So,
I'd say
and that
two
probably
and a
took
quarter
you what, an
battery.
hour? Something like an
Yeah,
hour's
it's usually over an hour.
Just questioning, and if you don't answer, if it's too much into your weeds, how much are you charging per battery?
I usually start off at I tell people I start off at $150 first time I step on site. After
Okay.
that, next battery would be $75, $75. That's just the base. Now,
Okay,
this
step
job
on
right here,
site, that doesn't include your batteries.
yeah,
Gotcha.
1 battery,
Oh, it includes your
this-
first battery when you step on
first
site,
battery.
that 150 first battery. Okay.
Right. So if, like this job here, like I said, this how I put in all the different technology I have. The amount of batteries I got to use to do the flight. That's one thing. I add additional $100 because I'm using terrain awareness now.
Yeah.
Another $100 because I'm using RTK. That's the cost for that do that job.
And that's the base cost. That's not per battery. That $100 is for your step on site.
No. 150 for me to step on site includes the 1 battery.
Minimum. Yeah, minimum.
Second
Right.
battery, $75. Third battery, $75.
Right, but the RTK, that $100 RTK
RTK,
is not added
separate
every
charge.
single battery. That's
Separate
one
No,
time.
RTK just one separate charge, $100.
Right.
Now,
Right.
that's just me flying. I don't process the data. I don't process that map. I go home, upload it up to their servers. They process it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was
What's
processing
RTK?
that would be a whole nother charge
Yep.
from there.
What's RTK?
Real time.
Real-time kinematics.
Right.
Sorry.
No,
No, you got it right. I
Yeah.
was about to say,
I thought it
I was about to
was
say it
real
wrong.
time.
You got it right. Kinematics.
Yeah,
Real time
kinematics.
kinetics,
Yeah.
What are Yanks and their acronyms? Huh?
not kinematics.
I use it there in
Kinetics.
the UK. RTK is a universal term globally.
I know. I'm just kidding. It's me. It's not. Yeah. It's just me and acronyms. I
Yeah.
struggle. You know.
Yeah, that's globally. So,
I know.
and that's how I price it right there. And that's why I tell folks, okay, because some folks say, well, maybe we don't want the RTK. I said, well, okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to have it, but don't complain about the accuracy of the map.
I know.
It's
How it
not
rolls.
It's not kinematics.
Yes, it is.
It's kinetics.
No, it's kinematics.
I think that's a pronunciation of the word.
No, they're different words. Kinematics and kinetics, different words.
Yep.
Mm.
Kinetics is the force of motion.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
kinematics
you're
is the
going-
study of motion. It's kinematics.
Well, I'll let you.
It's the same thing as what
I'll
is
let
used.
you engineers and want to be engineers.
Yeah, reverse kinematics is also a way of animating where you can do straight ahead, or you can do reverse kinematics where you move the endpoint and have the computer figure out the motion. But the word is kinematics.
I didn't even know what it was. Didn't even know what kinematics was.
Hey,
Don't feel
Dre,
bad,
do you-
Michael.
Dre, do you-
Michael, when I first heard the term, I said, "What's this got to do with the study of the body skeleton?"
Mm-hmm.
Dre, do you
No, Kinetics
foresee,
is
Dre, a
the
program being
energy-
developed that would
energy
do your
produced
flying
by-
for you?
upward and downward motion.
Dre,
that,
do you envision a program being developed that would do your flying for you?
Well, yeah, there's
Where
already
you would just stand there, hit the button, and it would do everything. And
that's what I do
I
now.
think they have that
Pretty
already.
much that, yeah.
Drone deploy, Pix4D, Pilot 2 app. That's what they do. I set the map up based upon the parameters that are simply. Sometimes they do the map in a KML file. I upload it. I might tweak it a little bit here and there, and I hit a button. The drone flies, and I sit there and watch. I just babysit it to make sure, watch my signal strength, make sure I don't, lose signal. Might have to move around a little bit, something like that. Make sure I maintain my signals.
that sounds like a business for you, Donald.
I don't have the gear.
The skill
It
set.
does take an initial investment of gear.
Yeah, and the skill set has to be there. The knowledge
Mhm.
of what you are doing. But
Well,
once
Donald's
once
very
you're
knowledgeable.
there, it's straightforward.
Well,
No,
like I say, Mark,
if I had the cash to get the gear and a flight out to California to hang out with Dre and job shadow him for a couple days.
you
I'd love
be
to do
saying, Don be saying, man, this is a ripoff, Dre. You're killing these people.
that.
I'd be like, Dre, you need to double your prices.
Well,
Yeah.
No, I say,
maybe-
no, in
maybe-
Don's area of the country, his best thing would be doing. I'm just thinking. I don't know exactly how big area you live in, Don, but I'm just assuming agriculture would probably be a better avenue for you in that area.
Probably if I don't know how much they do around here, but
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I need to
A
research
lot-
and find out.
But like I said, I know you got a lot of corporate farms in your area that Del Monte's and Green Giant. There might be guys who are contractors for them. all this kind of stuff. And like I say, that's where you would come into play and come out there, and it might be
Well,
a seasonal thing.
Dre, what you might do is think about branching out and putting Donald to work for you on the East Coast.
I'll do it.
Paul,
Hey.
that is always on the list of what one day I would love to be as they say, a
Franchiser.
franchisee, where I would have a network of pilots, just like the Droners IO and all them other places. But since I grew up in that system, I would reverse the model and just basically have it where the pilot gets the lion's share of the money and the corporation takes the smaller cut.
I might have to invite myself. I might have to invite myself then to your house, Dre, and then get some pilot training.
Yeah, because like with a lot of these businesses, just like what happened to Droners IO when they had to file for bankruptcy at the end of last year, sometimes these companies grow too big for their britches, and they start making acquisitions they really can't cover, and a lot of that is just in property. These guys go out there and want to be with the corporate big boys and getting these buildings in certain cities and towns, and they really can't afford it. And then the business model falls apart instead of staying kind of smaller, because most of the work is
In other
all
words,
done.
working from the ground up, not from the
Yeah.
top down.
Yeah, because like I say, most of this stuff is done, Paul, through the internet. I mean, I might get a phone call from somebody. Hey, this is so and so from yada yada folks. Hey, we got a job out in your area. Can you handle it? Yeah, send me the info. Boom. I'm not going to your office. No, I'm not going to a brick and mortar to go see you for a job. It's all
way of doing it.
electronic. Communication is all electronic. You'll send me an email. You'll send me a text. You'll call me on the phone. So I don't understand why these guys are getting these 6, 7 stories and up high rises and got a staff of about 30 people when you only need about 5 or 6 to handle the jobs.
Yeah.
So they're becoming top heavy too fast, and then when things are not going the way they should to, then all of a sudden
Maybe
everything is cut.
this is the vector. Let's say this is the vector by which AI will finish humanity. It will start doing all the things
that is the worry on people who do work like I do, is that like Mark was referring to what we call drone in a box. You can get a company who wants to spend that kind of money purchasing a drone in a box, have it programmed from another location, and have that drone fly whenever they need to fly, and it sends the data back automatically and takes a person like me out of the loop.
Yeah.
Not yet.
That's
But then at the cost, a drone in a box outfit will cost you, even right now, a DJI outfit will cost you 20 grand above.
Mm.
So Dre, let's say Donald was serious and went out and hustled, okay?
Mhm.
What would be the bottom price for the equipment he would need to get off the ground and get it flying and get it making money?
I would say Don can get into the game for under 8 grand.
I was gonna say around 10.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 10's comfortable. 8 grand would be that, and that includes a drone
mhm.
that you would need, buy your RTK system, base station,
Mm.
whatever. So that's going to be the big selling point.
Yeah.
What you
See,
do is survey
Mm.
level
Yep.
and stuff.
Go to your old
This would be-
office, say, that Phantom 4 just hasn't moved since I left. Would you like me to make you an offer for it?
And like I say, he can get it on the very cheap end by using a Phantom 4 V2 without RTK and still get some work. And I'll put it like this, Don, you'll make your money back within the first year.
Thing is, this is
What you
part of the problem as well, is that you've invested a whole bunch of cash in a whole bunch of drones,
Mhm.
and you'll never get that money back. Well, you'll get it back, but you have now a times a scale by which to do that.
To think how much money Dre's invested in equipment, it must be over 100 grand now.
No, I'm not close to
No.
that high.
Yeah,
Not close to that
you're
high.
overthinking it because
Yeah.
the thing of it is, it's like Dre says, you can get a Phantom R2K drone now cheap.
Yeah,
And
I bought mine for like 2,500. Phantom 4 RTK drone, $2,500. Back when they first came out, they were going for around 6 grand.
yeah, well, it's like my
Right.
first Inspire 1 when I bought
Yeah.
it was $3,800 with one battery.
Yeah.
Gee
And
whiz,
that's why I
man.
said, if, like I said, you get with the right people, if you hustle on your own, you can make
Yeah,
that money
yeah.
back within a
Like
year.
your base station and your LiDAR.
Yeah,
You're gonna-
I suppose.
Now, LiDAR, get there. I mean, I wouldn't advise anybody to go straight into LiDAR right away. It's something that I feel, even for me, you got to
don't
grow
need it.
into some of this stuff. If you want to start off basic, start with a Phantom, go from there. Nowadays, you can get the DJI Mavic 3 E for $3,500, and be out there doing work and make your money back. The whole thing is you got to be disciplined as an individual. I try to be as best I can on a lot of things that I do, but it's always I look at this industry as a whole. So guess what? I have a Pocket 3. Okay. Do I need a Pocket 3? No.
What's
But
that?
I got a
What's that?
Pocket
Is that
3
DJI?
just in case. Yeah, Pocket 3 DJI. And then the last 2 weeks ago, I bought a Pocket 2 as a backup to the Pocket 3 because I'm very fearful of the lens problem, the screen problem on the Pocket 3. Because a number of people had that issue where the flip screen gets all wacky and stuff.
Oh, it's a camera. I get it. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's why it didn't.
Pocket 3
seem-
is a small handheld 3-axis gimbal camera, about 6
Yeah.
inches in length or whatever.
I think
And
I've obviously been on the other side of it because you used it, I think, because it was tracking you.
Yes.
You demonstrated it.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the stream.
it's nice when like I said, I like doing tutorial type videos, show people
Mm.
what I've learned, how to do this and that and everything else. So that's the reason why I got it. Not that I needed it. I could be out here doing these jobs and you'd never see Dre's face ever again.
Yeah, that's what
You know?
the comment I left on your video was me attempting to be funny because you did an unboxing video of a fucking box. I'm like, what's going on? And then I said, what did I say? There better not be a box in this box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got that. Well, you came in on I did a little play on word. I said an unshipping or unpackaging, and then I did an actual unboxing.
Unboxing. Yeah. It was the wording. You got me on the
Yeah.
wording.
Yes. The
Yeah.
first one, I mean, everything comes in a box that you can ship to you. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I got in the box. Boom, 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 boom. And then I think a couple of days later, I did the actual unboxing of the actual items that were in the box itself.
Yeah. That was the location.
Yeah,
That
what
was the thing
Paul's
I
holding
wanted to
up
look
is
at.
is a pocket 2 there, Paul.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Paul
Oh,
the
yeah,
pocket
very
2
good.
camera.
And I haven't used it.
Yeah,
That
So
does all the
great,
tracking
great.
and stuff.
The quality of those cameras is awesome, especially the pocket 3.
They look good.
Dre,
Yeah,
you'd be
but
they
turning
just-
into a Sean of air photography.
Yeah.
Are they designed to
We
be
don't-
put on a
we
pole
only
then?
ever saw his
Yes,
hands for the first
you can
three
buy.
years.
I know the 2 Femi ones I have the quarter mount screw holes in the bottom
yeah.
of those.
That standard screw mount that you get on cameras. Oh, there you go.
There,
That one.
Paul's hold it up. Usually on the DJI ones, you have to get an extended battery or something that has the screw mount for it.
Yeah. Often they include that screw mount on the hot or cold plates that you get as well. Is it called a hot plate?
Yeah,
or
sometimes they do,
No.
and then sometimes they don't. That's when the little, like I say, DJI can nickel and dime you if you ain't careful.
Or hot shoes it's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
So-
Just like that. So, and like I said, just like the other day, I bought a 4-axle gimbal handle for the pocket 3 and
Yeah.
2.
Mm.
So,
You know, I think
Don,
those-
Don, I don't know why you get that puzzled look, Don. You should know 4-axis.
Four
gimbal.
axis is taking care of this.
There you go. There you go. So if
It's
I'm
like-
running along something,
You don't have to duck walk.
that's the thing. You
Hmm.
can't duck walk when you're running.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got that 4-axle gimbal. So if I run, it'll still be smooth because it's absorbing the up and down motion.
Mm.
Yep.
Because the gimbal's already 3 axes.
I used to run a Steadicam a little bit
Mhm.
here at the local place, and somebody lost part of the vest. We ended up throwing away probably half of the gear because the other half went walking somewhere and it
Mhm.
became useless.
Right.
But yeah, it took care of all that up and
Right.
down, and it was
And like I said, truthfully,
bit of
do I
kit.
need it? No. I wanted one just in case I get opportunity to do like what Donald does. More like a traditional camera, stuff like
Mhm.
that, to where I may need to take some handheld footage or something, and I want it to be
Mhm.
smooth. You know, I got stuff, you know, I'm not as, I don't know if I'm as bad as Paul, but I got stuff that I have a slider, 2 sliders. I have a
Mhm.
Mozo, the electric slider pole that comes out, gives you that thought that comes out. I've used it twice. I have a regular large slider and stuff. I think I bought that from Newell, or was it Newer? I got the
Mhm.
large slider, almost like 70 some inches. That camera slides along and they can pan and do whatever. I've used it once.
That's a problem. How often are you going to use it?
That's it. That's why I tell people, I say, you know, it all depends how disciplined you are.
I got a
mean, I-
backpack over here with the little hook that goes over the top that has a string comes down to the camera,
Mhm.
so
Right.
give you that stabilization but
Right.
from the top. I
Right.
got that.
Mm.
Do I use it? No.
Yeah.
It sits over there.
So that's what
You
But
might
if I
not
need it,
use
I got it.
there you go. If I need it, I got
There you
it.
go.
That's the key right there. If I need it, I got it. And stuff. So that's what I'm gonna say. That's what keeps your overall profits down.
Yeah.
It's the what if thinking that you see, and staying off Amazon and staying off eBay is a great help also.
Well, I was ready to go buy me one of the new 360s, the X4. The other day,
Yeah.
I'm like, will I use it? I've got the GoPro Fusion,
Mhm.
and it's not as good a video.
Mhm.
It takes forever to process. I have to keep an old app because this is the Fusion. This isn't the Max. This
Right.
isn't the GoPro Max. This is the Fusion, their very first 360
Mhm.
camera. And so I got to keep an old version of software on my computer to do the stitching. But it's like, would I use it? No.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's
Use it.
those guys.
You would
Those
use
guys
it
have
if you
some
got rid
strength.
of the fusion.
Well, yeah, if I got rid of the Fusion, but I've got the Fusion.
Paul.
Lance, your audio's clouding up.
I think everybody is.
Well, it's noon. What do you guys think? Are we done for the day?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no.
What,
Oh, it's
what-
5 p.m. here, but
Maybe
Yeah,
I
I
might
gotta
get
start
in
getting
the,
stuff together because I got that shoot today.
I'm
Yeah,
I got
you
that
got-
bid
happy.
in, so I might drive
so
over.
we're not going to see you tonight, right?
Yeah, I won't be here today. Not tonight.
Yeah.
Joe's got a 4-on-4 football game or something.
7-on-7.
7-on-7 football.
Woo.
I didn't see Dre leave. He snuck
No,
out.
the whole thing went wonky, and he just said, "I don't have time for this."
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, everybody. Hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, talk to you
Thanks for
later.
having us, Paul.
We'll see all of you again later today.
Everyone have a great day.
Except
Thank you,
for
Paul,
you,
Joe, Donald, Mark, Lance.
Yep.
Take it easy. Latest
Bye.
potatoes.
Bye for now.
see you later.